more features, like 20 gigs of hotspot and 100 gigs of cloud storage, all on the best networks. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
See mobile protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Hey, bro, I don't think I can help you move Saturday. My back is really bugging me. I just don't think I can handle it. Sorry.
Hey, dude, it's John. I know I told you I'd be able to help you move. I think Michelle's really mad at me for something. What's that, honey? Oh, dude, I gotta go. Sorry, man.
Call Clark's Moving and Storage in South Jersey for your next local or long-distance move. Clark's, dependable and always shows up. Call 609-889-0780.
March's biggest tournament is finally here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is putting new customers in the center of the action. Bet $4 on an underdog. Win $256 if they win. It's that simple. Pick one of the many select college basketball underdogs for your shot at winning $256. All it takes is a $4 bet. Don't worry, if college basketball isn't for you, DraftKings Sportsbook offers great odds and promotions on golf, hockey, and so much more. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use my code 973 when you sign up to turn $4 into $256. If the underdog of your choosing pulls off the upset, that's code 973 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey only, new customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
2020 was a challenging year, but things are looking up, including the stock market's performance. But will it last? Hi, I'm Ken Morae, Senior Advisor at Retirement Planners of America. If you are 50 or older, call us today to schedule a free consultation to learn more about our Invest and Protect strategy that is designed to help mitigate the risk of the stock market. Call us today at 800-375-1159 to schedule your free assessment. That's 800-375-1159.
Was 2020 full of dings, dents, and scratches? Using your tax refund at Mako can help. Refresh your ride with your refund at Mako to undo a little bit of last year. Head to Mako.com to get a free online estimate today. Better get Mako.
A radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey.
Leave on the score!
WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City, 97.3 ESPN.
This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
And a good Monday, everybody. Welcome inside the Matt Black Kia Studios. This is the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app, and, of course, watch the show live at 973ESPN.com. Couple days off, back we go. And, of course, it always seems to – it never seems – Bash live on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And, of course, you can watch the show live at 973ESPN.com. Well, here we go. Back in the saddle on a Monday after a couple of days off, and never seems to amaze me. You take a couple of days off and all sorts of chaos ensues. And we are ready to go as the NFL legal tampering period is open. We got news on some of the Eagles' targets in free agency. We've got news about the Eagles already. You know, they seem to rework every single guy's contract on the roster over the weekend. They are working a deal right now with Brandon Graham, trying to get him an extension on his deal. So we'll have information on that coming up here shortly as well. Jake Elliott, the kicker, looks like they had to restructure his deal. I still believe they are about $17 million over the cap. They need to be under that number by Wednesday at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. They need to be under that number. $182.5 million. They are still about $17 million in change over. Howie Roseman working the magic, trying to figure out creative ways to get it done. We will see what else is even left for them to do. They did Hargrave. Apparently they're doing Jake Elliott. I don't know that that one has officially been done, but according to Adam Kaplan from the Inside the Birds podcast, which dropped this morning, Jeff Mosher today for Football at 4 with more details, that Elliott will have a restructured deal. According to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, the Eagles are working on a contract extension, not a restructure, but an extension with Brandon Graham. So they're going to try to get him a new deal and that should help them out significantly with the cap. They got Hargrave. They got Sayamalo. Oh, my God, I can't even remember. It feels like the whole team has reworked their deals since I've been gone. But, they're going to – they have to get to the number. They cannot get there. So they will get to that number, but it's going to be a little bit of a struggle to continue to get there. Now, here's the interesting part about it. They still can go to Fletcher Cox. I believe he would be a guy. Lane Johnson, we've heard about them approaching him. We haven't got an official deal for Lane Johnson yet. So you could be looking at a situation where – and keep in mind, now here's another story that came out over the weekend, which was Zach Ertz apparently is annoyed, if you will, with the Philadelphia Eagles with this whole situation. He wants this thing to be resolved. He wants it to move on. Here's the question, or here's the holdup. According to reports, the Eagles want a 3rd or 4th round pick to get a deal done. Well, we talked about it on this show. That ain't happening. There's nobody out there giving the Philadelphia Eagles a 3rd round pick for Zach Ertz. So Ertz is at the spot now where he wants to know what his future is. He wants to know where he's going. But at the same time, the Eagles are trying to hold out for whatever they can. So when the rubber meets the road here, they're either going to make a deal and take less than what they want, which I think is probably the likely scenario, or they just flat out release them because there's some money that they'll save right there with Zach Ertz. And then depending on what happens with Ertz, I would imagine they go to Fletcher Cox, Lane Johnson, those two guys there. I don't know how much more money they can pair off with those two. The one thing that would be interesting, and they Brandon Brooks, by the way, that was another contract that they restructured while I was gone, which was a good sign. I mean, it's a good sign for me because one of the things is I've been talking about on this show is that they will have this good offensive line, and if they have a good offensive line, that should make them a team that could compete at least this year in an NFC East that should be up for grabs. And if they have a good offensive line, I've said before, I don't see any reason why, if their offensive line is good, it stays healthy all season long, why this team shouldn't win anywhere between 8 to 10 games. That being said, if you lose Brandon Brooks, that would pare down my thought process there because Brooks is that important. But them restructuring Brooks tells me that they're inclined to keep him, so that's good news. The only thing I can say is this. They restructured Slay. They've restructured Brooks. They've restructured Sayamalo. They've restructured Hargrave. Graham is getting a new deal. They still have $17 million to go. Here's what I'll say. If they can't, and Ertz, that whole situation, if they can't get to that number by Wednesday, and they have to, but my point is by 4 o'clock, if they have called all the people, tried to restructure everybody they can, and they still cannot get under that number, that's when something drastic like a release of a veteran player happens. When you, like some of these other teams that you're seeing out there, the Kansas City Chiefs, who, by the way, the last time I checked, Howie Roseman wasn't their GM, meaning you guys don't think the Kansas City Chiefs GM is the worst in football. But the Kansas City Chiefs had to release their 2 starting tackles last week. You think they wanted to do that? I got 2 words for you. Hell no. You saw what happened to them in the Super Bowl. You think the Chiefs wanted to release their 2 starting tackles? Look, the GM miscalculated a little bit. People don't think that GM stinks, but guess what? He had to release his 2 starting tackles. He didn't want to. So the Eagles are not in the spot yet. Yet, I say yet, and that doesn't mean it can't happen, where they have to release somebody, flat out release them because of salary cap casualties. Somebody that they, like Zach Ertz to me is not a cap casualty. I mean, he kind of is, but he's not. Like the Eagles would love to have him if he wanted to play for the money that that's on there. They would ask him to restructure that deal. He don't want to do that. So the Eagles are okay moving on from him because they have Dallas Goedert here. It's a different situation. The Eagles don't want to move on from Fletcher Cox if they don't have to, and I don't think it's going to get to that. But that, to me, would be the drastic situation. is we have exhausted every opportunity to restructure. We've exhausted every opportunity for extensions. We've exhausted, like Pat Mahomes already had to restructure his contract. Pat Mahomes just signed the deal last year. He's already restructuring the deal that he signed a year ago. So all the people out there that are like, well, Howie got him into this mess. He's got him in the salary cap problem. Every team is going through something like this. Good teams, bad, mediocre teams. They're all going through this because of the drastic cut in the salary cap down to $182.5 million. So this is what's going to be happening over the next couple of days here. They're going to approach the rest of these guys. I don't even know who would be left on the list. I mean, I'm trying to go through the roster now, and I'm trying to see which guys here are guys they can approach to help them save some money. They've already gone through pretty much all the guys. Kelsey got a new deal. Graham's going to get a new deal today. It looks like by the end of the show, he'll probably get a new deal. So they got a little bit of work to do still, but they are inching their way towards that number. Still about 17, a little over $17 million over that cap. Right? About $17 million over that cap. They'll get there. They'll get there. I wouldn't be worried about it. And not only will the Eagles get to the cap number that they need to get to, they will likely get to a number where they will be able to bring in a free agent or two that they are interested in. And one name that they are interested in, we've talked about it on our show. Adam Kaplan reported it today on Inside the Birds. Quarterback Jacoby Brissett. To me, he makes a lot of sense in terms of the fit because of the coach, Nick Sirianni. He was the starting quarterback in Indianapolis. And now, the interesting part to me is the Eagles are interested in Brissett, which tells me they know they're going to have money to go out and get Brissett, because Brissett's a guy who, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, made about $15 million in the past. So he's not coming over here for the veterans minimum, in my opinion. He's probably one of those backup quarterbacks that has a pretty high ceiling on how much he can get paid. He would be considered, Jacoby Brissett, one of the top backup quarterbacks in football. Now, does he want to come to a team in Philadelphia that last week it was being reported that the Eagles want to move forward with Jalen Hurts? They don't want to turn to a veteran backup. They don't want to have a competition. So does Brissett want to come to a team that's already basically announced, according to reports anyway, that Hurts is their quarterback? Or does Brissett want to hold out and look for a team that would give him an opportunity to be the starting quarterback there? So we got all that on the table with this. All right, that's number one. That's number two. The restructurings are number one. The interest in Jacoby Brissett would be number two, I guess. The Zach Ertz stuff, let's get to that now. All right, let's go down the list here of things that we're looking for. Yeah, Brissett made $15 million last year. The contract he signed was worth $30 million. So there you go. I don't know that. I mean, Brissett might have interest. He might go play the field and then see if this place is this situation's the best for him. So here we go. This Zach Ertz stuff I want to get into real quick, because over the weekend it was reported that Ertz essentially is getting frustrated with the Eagles, right? He's frustrated with the whole situation on what's going on here. That he's actually, the word that was being used in the report is that he's growing increasingly impatient with the Eagles to get a deal done. He wanted a new contract for the Eagles last year. Roseman wouldn't budge. And by the way, good for Roseman. He shouldn't budge on Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is 30 years old. He was breaking down last year. They've already got Goddard. It's time to, talk about it. Is it time to keep Zach Ertz and extend him again, or is it time to move on? He's now in the final year of the contract that's going to pay him about $8.5 million. Here's the problem. Nobody wants to trade for that contract for a 30-year-old guy. So the report suggests that the Eagles want a 3rd or 4th round pick for Zach Ertz. That's, to me, is not happening. You're not getting that for him. So you either take a lesser pick, a 5th rounder. I think you got to hope for a 5th rounder for Zach Ertz at this point. And if you get a 5th rounder, that would be your 3rd 5th rounder. And then maybe you could turn that into a 4th or a 3rd. But I would suggest, if I'm Howie Roseman, that I would take the trade if someone offered me a 5th. If somebody offered me a 5th for Ertz at this point, I'd probably make that deal. That's what I would probably. Now, I'd hold out as long as I can go. I'd hold out as long as I can. I know Wednesday at 4 o'clock is the deadline, so I'm running out of time here. But he knows the market. There was a lot of interesting things that happened over the weekend with releases from teams out there. You see all these teams are having major issues trying to get the cap to get cap compliant because of the massive drop. So you've got a lot of talent that is being released out there. You got a lot of talent out there that is on the market because teams simply could not find ways to get themselves cap compliant. 609-403-0973 on the text board. 609-403-0973. Of course, if you're watching the show live, you can chat along. Mark is watching the show on Facebook. Mike, do you see any free agent defensive back that they compare with Slay? Here's the problem. You're trying to find a guy to pair with Slay. The salary that they have available, or that they're going to have available, no, they're not going to be able to be a player for a guy that you would want to pair with Slay. So to me, that's why that 6th pick in the draft, a corner, is at the top of my list because I can't afford one in free agency, right? I can't afford to go get a corner in free agency. And at this point, like Casey Hayward, I'm not getting, right? He was released by the Chargers and was a team captain and is a guy who, they didn't want to cut. The Chargers didn't want to cut Casey Hayward. They had to. They had no choice. But he would be a guy that, if I had money, I would want to go out and go get him. But the Eagles can't afford to do it with the situation that they're in right now. Here's another thing. We talked about Patrick Mahomes restructuring his contract. You're starting to see a lot of these teams are approaching these veteran players, asking them to restructure the deals so that they can get under the cap this year. Tom Brady got a 4-year extension. Now, you would say he's going to play for 4 more years. The contract extension voids. It's a 4-year contract that voids to a 1-year extension. That means he's basically signed a 1-year deal with all these dummy years at the end. They're all voidable years to help defray the cost of the thing. But these teams are now, you're seeing these teams take a page out of what the Eagles have been doing for years, right? That's an old Eagles trick. What the Buccaneers did, and of course their GM is Jason Light from the Eagles, right? Where do you think he learned that deal? Where do you think he learned that little move? Brett Veach is the GM of the Kansas City Chiefs. He also is from the Howie Roseman tree. So Jason Light, the team that's in the Super Bowl this year, that won the Super Bowl, the team that went to the Super Bowl, they are not football guys. They are all cap guys that are the GMs of these teams, the Buccaneers and the Chiefs. And now you're seeing them follow the Eagles, basically what they do. Now, I know Andy Reid's in Kansas City, so that's kind of where Howie learned kind of some of the cap stuff there. Actually, not really. Joe Banner was the guy who really set that all up. Andy was the guy who was really making the personnel decisions, and then Banner ran the cap for the most part. Now you have a situation here where Roseman runs a lot of the cap stuff. They have guys that work with him. Joe Douglas was here. They've had other guys who have been more on the personnel side of things. But a lot of these teams, to try to get themselves cap compliant, are taking a page from what the Eagles do with all these restructurings. And what's the word you hear a lot when it comes to the Eagles? Kicking the can down the road. They do this a lot, where they take these contracts, like Tom Brady is going to have all these dummy years at the end of his career that who knows if he's going to be playing together in Tampa Bay for all those 4 years. But they're essentially all voidable years at the end, but it's just a way to circumvent the cap. That's what the Eagles are basically regarded as the best in football at, as figuring out ways to get themselves cap compliant. And here we are. 609-403-0973 on the text board, 609-403-0973. Dan from EHG says, Ertz is trying to find a way to the Colts. Yeah, he's trying to find a way anywhere but here right now. But, yeah, you're right. The Colts is probably a team that he would like to try to find his way to. All right, we got a lot to do today. It is the Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN. We are very busy, jam-packed. I want to get into Joel Embiid's injury. We are going to talk to Dr. Jeremy Boyd from Trifecta Therapeutics. He's going to tell us a little bit more about this bone bruise to the knee, which, by the way, Embiid has had once before. If you remember, the injury that he had back in, I want to say, 16 or 17, the one that made him miss when they went on like that 18-game winning streak. And then, was that the same year that he? What was the year he had the orbital bone was the one, but he had the bone bruise. The bone bruise, right, was the one when Simmons was not playing. He was on the team by himself in Embiid's quote-unquote rookie season. Right. And then Colangelo gave the interview and said that he would be back for a couple of weeks, and then he never ended up playing again the rest of the year. But if you remember that year, he had the bone bruise. So this is the second time this has happened. If you watch the video, it did not look good. The bone bruise is positive news. But I want to ask Dr. Jeremy Boyd from Trifecta Therapeutics, when you saw that video, what did you think? And what is a bone bruise in this situation? Good, bad? I don't know much about a bone bruise. Like, to a layman, a bone bruise sounds like, okay, you got a bone bruise. So we'll get more details on that coming up here on the Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN. 609-573-3776. Let me go to Tommy in Summers Point. What do you got, Tommy?
Hey, Mike. You
Yes.
say we hate Howie Roseman. You know why we don't like Howie Roseman? Because we know he's the best in the money business. He can't put a team together to save his life, i.e. like Joe Douglas. However, so Kansas City has a GM that can pick talent but can't manage money. We have a GM that can manage money but can't pick talent. So what would you rather have, Mike? What's the lesser of two evils?
Well, I won a Super Bowl with the other guy, so I'll take that guy.
Yeah, the other guy, Joe Douglas, Mike, that is in New York that picked the talent. Listen, you always rip me for that, but what I say is...
Well, that's because you, first off, you're saying something that you have no evidence of. You're just saying something because you don't like one guy. You don't like one guy, so you have zero evidence of that.
Are you so? But common sense. So let me ask you a question, Mike. Just think about this for a second. You think that Howie Roseman had enough smarts after he picked Danny Watkins and those clowns he used to pick to go out?
He didn't pick Danny Watkins, so they're already you're already off base.
We don't know. You don't know that. You don't know that for a fact.
Andy Reid was here, so you're telling me when Andy Reid was here that Howie Roseman went up over top of.
There were reports, Mike. There were reports.
It's funny when you want the reports to fit your narrative. He didn't make the picks, but
You're wrong.
No, I'm not wrong. Andy Reid picked Danny Watkins. Well documented.
What you heard? Show me where. Okay, I disagree, but here's what I'm going to say.
Guess what? I co-hosted a show with Danny Watkins. So you want me to tell you from the horse's mouth who took him? Because I can tell you right now who Danny Watkins. Danny Watkins thinks picks him.
So then. They get J.J.
So I know Danny Watkins personally, and you're telling me otherwise.
Well, I'm telling you it was reported that Howie Roseman.
All right, well, I'm telling you what Danny Watkins said.
Marcus
Smith was taken by Chip. Chip Kelly picked Marcus Smith. That is well documented.
Mike. No, it's not, Mike. You know what's documented? that was Chip Kelly's first year. If you think Howie Roseman turned,
no, that was not Chip Kelly's first year.
Wrong.
Tom, you need to get your facts straight before you come to me with stuff, because Marcus Smith was not his first year. It was his second year. He drafted Lane Johnson the first year. Hold on. He drafted Lane Johnson the first year with Zach Ertz. That draft was run by Howie Roseman. When Chip Kelly went kicking and screaming down the hallway and got his way, he took Marcus Smith and Nelson Aguilar.
Documented? You'd have it documented, Mike.
Yeah, I got it. What do you mean documented? You're a big fan. You go read it yourself. Anybody who has half a clue knows that.
Mike, you're guessing.
I'm not guessing.
You know what?
Tom, I'm not guessing. You know and I know. Howie Roseman, the first year of Chip Kelly, he ran the draft. Then Kelly. So why would Howie Roseman get put down the hallway for 2 seasons? It's well documented. He had nothing to do with personnel for 2 years.
But you know what's well documented, Mike? He doesn't know what he's doing. That's well documented.
All right. Well, he took Lane Johnson and Zach Ertz. Chip Kelly took Marcus Smith.
You could have made it. Listen, when you have an offer.
All right. Well, that's enough. Whenever you don't like what you hear, it's, you could have made that pick. No, you know what? Lane Johnson was not the consensus pick at that spot at number 4. That year, there was a lot of guys at number 4 they could have taken. And by the way, they got Zach Ertz in the second round that year, who turned out to be the best tight end in the history of the franchise. Then Chip Kelly did not want to work with Roseman on the draft. So Roseman got put down the hallway. And then the next year, Chip Kelly ran the draft for the next 2 seasons. If you can't figure that out or you don't know that, then guess what? You're not as big as a fan as you think you are. Because everybody knows that Kelly ran the draft the next 2 seasons and took Marcus Smith. And then after the second year, they took Aguilar, they took Smith. They were the 2 first-round picks. And then the first year, they took Lane Johnson and they took Zach Ertz. They were the picks the first year of Chip Kelly. 609-403-0973. 609-403-0973. Look, we get it. I get it. People don't like him. They don't like him for reasons that are, I think, not football related for the most part. I don't think most of the reasons that people don't like him are football related. And guess what? There are reasons that are legitimate. We'll get into the story that was in the paper from Jeff McClain this weekend. Because some of those things I have said are Roseman's biggest problems. Some of those things are the problems that Roseman has. The whole story about him and Lane Johnson. Now, it's hard to decipher in there because a lot of it says, well, they're friends and they said something that was supposed to be a joke, but Lane Johnson didn't take it as a joke. But, I mean, come on, you have to at least know the whole situation before you're sitting here. I don't like this guy. I don't like that guy. You're wrong. This guy, well, he picked this guy. Well, everybody would have picked that guy. Well, anytime you don't like something, you can't just tell me that. You are allowed to say, all right, well, guess what? I didn't realize he took Lane Johnson. I'm wrong, and he made it good. So you're telling me essentially that 100% of the picks that he's made have been bad picks. I can't let that kind of propaganda get out there because it's not accurate. Sure, I'm not here to tell you that he's made 90% hits, 80% hits, 70% hits. But guess what? There's not a GM in football that hits at that rate. But people like that act like as if it's 0%. You're allowed to say, you know what? He picked Lane Johnson. I give him credit for that. 609-573-3776. All right, when we come back, how long will Joel Embiid be out for? We have the latest coming up.
Turn it on. Leave it on. The Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Termite season is quickly approaching. Is your home protected? Whether you're renovating or getting ready for spring, stop termites, mice, and ants in their tracks. Visit VikingPest.com for a pest-free home. That's VikingPest.com.
It's the Honda Dream Garage Spring Event at Rossi Honda. What better vehicle to put in your garage than one of the 3 best 2021 SUVs on the market? Lease a Honda HR-V LX for $99 a month, or get the Honda CR-V EX for $229 a month. Put the Honda Pilot EX in your garage for only $279 a month, or 0% APR up to 60 months, with free oil changes for up to 5 years. At Rossi Honda, we treat you better, period.
See dealer for details.
Today, pros have to do whatever it takes. The Home Depot is here to make that easier. We've got the products you know and trust on our app, delivery options to get what you need exactly where you need it, and a delivery tracker that keeps you up to date on the status of your order, so you can keep doing what you do best, whatever it takes to get the job done. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Hey, sports bettors, it's Mike Gill, and I wanted to share with you how I've been cashing in on the PropSwap Sports Bets resale app. On average, sellers on PropSwap have been making $500 a month. It's easy. Just post all your betting tickets for sale on PropSwap and let them find you a buyer. Listing your ticket is always free, and if it sells, great. But if not, the bet is still yours to keep. If you're not selling sports bets on PropSwap, you're missing out on incredible side hustle. Start making extra money today by downloading the PropSwap app and selling your sports bets.
Dell's semi-annual sale is the perfect time to power up productivity and gaming victories. Now you can save what Dell employees save on high-performance tech. Save 17% on the latest XPS and Alienware computers with Intel Core processors. Plus, check out exclusive savings on Dell monitors, headsets, and accessories for greater immersion in all you do. Upgrade today by calling 800-BY-DELL. Again, that's 800-BY-DELL, or you can visit Dell.com/semi-annual sale.
If you're struggling with a drug or alcohol addiction, now is the time to take action and get professional help. Call Recovery Centers of America at 1-888-RECOVERY today. You are worthy of recovery from your addiction, and calling RCA will be your first step in getting the help you need. Recovery Centers of America answers the phone and admits patients 24/7. And because safety is a top priority, all patients and staff are routinely tested for COVID-19. RCA's expert team of physicians and medical professionals will treat you with compassion and dignity and provide an evidence-based treatment plan that is custom-tailored to your specific needs. Recovery Centers of America at Devon and Lighthouse are local and in-network with insurance providers, so they're best-in-class inpatient and outpatient care, offered both in-person and via teletherapy, is affordable and accessible. Make this the year you conquer your addiction. Call today, 1-888-RECOVERY. That's 1-888-RECOVERY.
Mom, I'm hungry. Popcorn?
We should live stream this.
Already am. With this new plan from Walmart Family Mobile, I get 40 gigabytes of high-speed data for under $40 a month. It's a limited time deal. Ooh, watch out, loose ball.
Whoa.
That's double the data with no contract or surprise fees. Yay, buzzer beater. All powered by T-Mobile's nationwide network. Makes me feel like I'm a step ahead. Available at Walmart. Double data ends July 31st, 2021. Hotspot does not double. See terms at myfamilymobile.com. Walmart Family Mobile.
I had been taking probably 800 milligrams of opioids a day, which is an insane amount.
David is in recovery from an addiction to prescription opioids.
Eventually, my whole life began to unravel. I realized that I needed help. And in recovery, I found my purpose. Addiction is a disease of isolation and loneliness. There is a way out. You don't have to do this alone.
If you or someone you know is struggling, there is hope. Recovery is possible. Visit cdc.gov/RX awareness.
If you're a first-time buyer, finding your first real home can feel like this.
Hot property. Not going to last long. Multiple offers. 30 or fixed. We need earnest
But
money.
a realtor has the expertise to strip away all the noise and focus on what really matters to you.
You're going to love this place. Great neighborhood. School is walkable. It even has a huge yard so Henry can practice his penalty kicks.
Finding the right place starts with you and a realtor with the expertise to make sure your voice is the only voice that matters. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
You can watch the Sports Bash live now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Search 97.3 ESPN or visit our website, 97.3ESPN.com.
All right, 2:31 here on the Sports Bash. And I want to tell you about my friends at Trifecta Therapeutics, the premier sports rehab and performance center. It's located very centrally to my voice right now in Glassboro, New Jersey, the 8 South Jersey counties where you can hear my voice over in Delaware. The team at Trifecta Therapeutics has the only sports manual therapy fellowship trained doctor on staff in all of New Jersey. So, weekend warriors, finely tuned athletes, collegiate athletes, professional athletes, they help the pros and the Joes. Find out more about the incredible team at Trifecta Therapeutics in Glassboro and how they can help you. Visit them online at trifectatherapeutics.com. This is the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. And you can watch the show live on our website, 97.3ESPN.com. Dr. Jeremy Boyd over at Trifecta is going to join me right now and give us a little bit more insight on this Joel Embiid injury, as, of course, we all saw it over the weekend. And, man, Doc, when we saw that happen, that video, when you saw that video, did you think the worst just looking at the video?
Hey, Mike. Yeah, it was definitely a scary injury. Anytime we see that loaded hyperextension kind of moment where that knee goes overly straight, we automatically think the worst. So it's definitely worrisome. Thankfully, Mike Evans of the Bucks kind of went through it a couple weeks ago, so there was a whoop. But yeah, it's definitely scary when they go down grabbing their knee immediately. It's pretty worrisome.
Especially a man 7 foot, 280 pounds. I mean, the fact that he's that big of a man, seeing that, you're thinking the worst right off the bat. But the reports are no structural damage. He is diagnosed with a left knee bone bruise. So I guess if you hear that, you're just a common guy out there, bone bruise. That can't be too bad. Give us a little insight on that diagnosis.
Yeah, it definitely seems like not too bad. We all get bruises and everything like that, but if enough is done to the bone and it's bruised, we do get some bleeding into it. They didn't really describe which layer, because the bone has multiple layers to it, but at whatever level it is more significant than it sounds. The body still has to heal through that and everything like that. And just to put things into perspective, when in regards to the big scary thing, the ACL reconstruction or ACL tear, a lot of people have pain involving that, and actually what they kind of perceive, what causes most of that pain is actually the bone bruise. So it's more pain limiting than anything, but it's still something you have to work through and kind of do all your rehab and take good care of it.
So his ACL and meniscus are fine, according to sources, and a lot of relief around the Sixers. So what is a typical time frame when we're looking at this? Because if we remember, Joel had this injury his rookie season, and they had said, he'll be back, in a couple of weeks. He never returned that year. Now, that could have been, hey, we don't really want to get him back because we weren't really trying to win games. But there is some precedent that he had this injury before and never returned to the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it's really kind of, patient dependent or, athlete dependent. We've seen, again, with Mike Evans, I believe he was out for 1 week. And I believe by the second week, going into the playoffs, when he had a similar hyperextension injury with a bone bruise, and he was back at it within, I believe, 2 weeks. So that's probably the earliest it'll be. It's a little different for Joel there, being that he's such a compression sport athlete. He jumps, he lands, does a ton of rebounding. So that's going to obviously influence and kind of poke that bruise a little bit more and more. So it's probably going to maybe take him a little bit longer. I would say, the fact that, they're having a good season, he's having an awesome year, definitely some motivations that can maybe kind of push things along. He's gone through the paces before this. So hopefully it's only a couple weeks and not, taking him out for a month plus.
Yeah.
But it really kind of depends on him.
Now they're going to reevaluate him in 2 weeks. Dr. Jeremy Boyd from Trifecta Therapeutics in Glassboro is with me. They're going to reevaluate him in 2 weeks. If somebody has a bone bruise, they came to you, and what would you be looking in that second, in that 2 weeks that would make you feel like, okay, you're on the right path?
Main thing is, making sure we get, full range of motion of that knee. Cause again, it's more pain dominant than anything. So it can limit how much you can bend or straighten that knee, making sure it didn't have any trauma to the muscles surrounding it. So he has full strength equal to the other side. So there's some testing, especially at the high level sports, rehab scenes, where we can test and see how much strength has returned. And, ultimately just confidence. With our athletes, we want to make sure they're fully ready, both physically and mentally. So if he feels like he's strong, you play on it. They've done some return to sports stuff, got him jumping and landing and rebounding. That's what we'd be hoping for. That would be like ideal. He's ready to rock and roll after 2 weeks.
Is this an injury that could lead to, something, if your knee's weaker, do you have to worry if you come back too early, or if there's something, does it weaken the ligaments, the ACL, the MCL, or is that something that is completely separate from, just having the bone bruise, or is that not known because you don't know the area of the bone of where that's actually bruised?
Yeah, by statistics alone, we can assume if we look at our ACL studies, most of the bone bruises happen on the lateral side or the outside of the knee, mostly on the femoral, like the femur, and also on the tibial plateau. So just statistically speaking, that's where most of those kind of bone bruises happen. Is it, directly related to those ligaments? No, not so much, but if you imagine if it was enough to bruise a bone and hyperextend the knee, and that's when a lot of those ACL injuries happen, it probably puts some degree of strain on it. And anytime we know when an athlete goes back before they're fully ready, it does put them at risk for injuries. A common one we think of is RG3, when he, I believe he tore or sprained his LCL in that, Washington football game. And then he decided, and the team decided, hey, he's ready to go back the next week. He ended up tearing his ACL, and let's be honest, his career has never been the same. So, everybody's, a little bit different. Main thing is, confidence and, looking at both sides, making sure things are pretty equal. That's how we know we can prevent those sort of things.
Well, that's good to hear because that MRI revealed no structural damage to the knee, feeling of relief. 2 weeks he will be reevaluated, and we'll see what ends up happening with Joel Embiid. And as Dr. Jeremy Boyd just said there, you don't have to worry too much, it sounds like, that, hey, because of this injury, that it could lead to other injuries. Because if you remember about a month ago, he had a night where he kind of hyperextended his knee, and he ended up coming back in that game. So, we know Embiid's had a lot of injury issues in the past, but it seems that, that knee has held up pretty good because he has had a couple of times where he's had that hyperextension look, and he's made it out. And, man, when that happened on, what was that, Friday night, it looked for sure like it was going to be some bad news.
Yeah, and the main thing is, I guess at this point is hopefully work towards prevention of things. We got to remember, I think Joel started playing when he was 15, and he's in his mid to late 20s now. Working towards maybe some landing mechanics and those sort of things. And I guess he's still young, kind of in the game of basketball, which is surprising how amazing he is. But that would be the next thing is we want to try and prevent these things from keep happening to him, because it takes this one little bit more pressure, and then you have a much more serious injury, and hopefully that never happens to him because he's such an amazing player.
He's a lot of fun to watch. It's been a lot of fun to watch him, and hopefully, from talking to you and just seeing what's out there, it sounds like he should be back and ready to go in a couple of weeks here. When he limped into the locker room, he got the MRI, and it all came out good early on Saturday morning. We found that out. Dr. Jeremy Boyd, Trifecta Therapeutics, are located in Glassboro. If you are anybody from a Joel Embiid level player down to someone like you out there listening, and you guys have injuries and you need to get a look at, Dr. Jeremy Boyd and the great team at Trifecta Therapeutics can make that happen for you. So sounds like Joel should be good to go. Doc, we appreciate a couple of minutes in explaining that better for us.
No problem. Thanks for having me on, Mike.
Absolutely. It's Dr. Jeremy Boyd from Trifecta Therapeutics in Glassboro giving us a little lowdown. So there you go. Sounds good. As he said, no structural. It's just a bone bruise, about 2 weeks. That blood that gets around that bone area, and then boom, you're back. Hopefully once they reevaluate Joel, that we should have some better information on when he will be back. And hopefully, they say 2 to 3 weeks. There's about a 10-game window in that 2 to 3 week span that the Sixers are going to have to get through. Now, if anything looks like it did last night, they're going to be tough to beat when you shoot about 50% from 3-point range. But I thought last night, while we're on the topic of Joel real quick, I thought last night was one of the best games I've seen the Sixers play with or without Joel Embiid in the entire Embiid era. They just looked extra confident, moving the ball confident. It was such a joy to watch the way boom, 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 boom. A lot of fun last night. And I'm not saying, hey, they're better without Joel. Not at all. It was just the ball movement, the open looks. I thought Ben Simmons was tremendous last night. I thought that, who had a really good game last night? Kind of underrated in that, Tobias had a really good game last night. Tobias Harris has played outstanding this year. You're going to have these Tobias Harris haters out there who, look, they didn't like him in the past, and they can't change their view because they once hated him, so they can't be the guy that says, look, people evolve and things change. I thought Harris was just an okay player last year. This year, totally different player. Now, will he do it in the playoffs? I don't know, but I'm going off of what I'm seeing so far over the however many games they've played. Tobias Harris, to me, looks like a different player. But here's the guy I thought last night. Well, Danny Green, by the way, 4 of 7. I'm not even counting him. And Curry shot it really well. Big help there. But I thought the guy last night that has really was Thybulle. I mean, Thybulle has been outstanding. Thybulle's been outstanding. And the other guy that I wanted to bring up is Howard. I thought Howard played tremendous last night. I thought Howard played tremendous. Dwight Howard in 20 minutes last night had 8 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a block, 8 points. He was a plus 19 last. I thought Dwight Howard and Thybulle were excellent last night. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Inside the Sixers with Paul Hudrick coming up at 3:20 today. Busy show. Hudrick, Mosher, Bob Wankel on the Phillies, Jeff Nadeau on the NCAA tournament at 5:20 tonight. We're going to go through the brackets. We're going to go through the tournament. And then I got news on Thursday's show, where we're going to be, where you can come see us, and who's going to be joining me. All right here on the Sports Bash Live. 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And I want to again thank my guy, Jeremy Boyd, Dr. Jeremy Boyd at Trifecta Therapeutics in Glassboro. Visit them online at trifectatherapeutics.com. If you have any aches, pains, soreness, physical therapy, rehab, anything for the weekend warrior, if you're back out there playing sports, you're back out there being physical activities, and you feel a little sore, have the guys at Trifecta Therapeutics check you out. Great job by Dr. Jeremy Boyd for jumping on the show. Sports Bash is brought to you by Matt Blatt Nissan. The all-new Matt Blatt Nissan open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township next to Home Depot. Online at mattblattnissan.com. I was out a couple of days last week, getting a couple errands and stuff done, just trying to get some stuff done by the time the draft and everything gets here. And I got to get all riled up in the first 15 minutes of the show. I got to calm myself back down. I like the chat here. The chat board today on the video stream is classic. Classic stuff by you guys. Hey, if you're watching the show live, like I see you guys, Jeff, Dom, Danuch, Adam, Mark, Eagles, and people's names who I can't really pronounce, share the show from wherever you're watching. If you're on Facebook, hit the share button. If you're on YouTube, share the YouTube player. And I'll read off some more of your chat comments coming up here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. And, of course, watch the show live at 97.3 ESPN.com.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Simmons downhill, comes in, jams his jam, and a foul, a rugged basket by Ben Simmons.
The Sixers host the New York Knicks tomorrow. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
March's biggest tournament is finally here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is putting new customers in the center of the action. Bet $4 on an underdog, win $256 if they win. It's that simple. Pick one of the many select college basketball underdogs for your shot at winning $256. All it takes is a $4 bet. Don't worry. If college basketball isn't for you, DraftKings Sportsbook offers great odds and promotions on golf, hockey, and so much more. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use my code 973 when you sign up to turn $4 into $256 if the underdog of your choosing pulls off the upset. That's code 973 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning makes it easy to upgrade to the most energy-efficient equipment. And for a limited time, Broadlee's is giving you a free furnace with the purchase of a high-efficiency AC system. 0% financing and rebates from the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities. And its clean energy program mean even greater savings. Don't miss out on Broadlee's free furnace frenzy. Certain restrictions apply. Call Broadlee's at 609-390-3907 or visit broadleys.net. Your trusted source for 3 generations.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents
And Doug.
Breathe out and repeat after me. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Your bird is eating my candles.
Your bird is eating my candles.
No, seriously, he's making a mess.
No, seriously.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Get a customized quote at libertymutual.com.
Hey guys, are you afraid of taking off your shirt in public? Don't be embarrassed. Just say, I love Lyle back instead with male breast reduction. Many men develop a fullness in their chest as boys that persists and even worsens as they get older. This condition is called gynecomastia, and with simple liposuction, most cases can be effectively treated. Call 856-MAKEOVER today to schedule your private consultation with Dr. Lyle and Back. That's 856-MAKEOVER or visit ILoveLyleBack.com.
Mom, I'm hungry. Popcorn?
We should live stream this.
Already am. With this new plan from Walmart Family Mobile, I get 40 gigabytes of high-speed data for under $40 a month. It's a limited time deal. Oh, watch out, loose ball.
Whoa.
That's double the data with no contract or surprise fees. Yay, buzzer beater. All powered by T-Mobile's nationwide network. Makes me feel like I'm a step ahead. Available at Walmart. Double data ends July 31st, 2021. Hotspot does not double. See terms at myfamilymobile.com. Walmart Family Mobile.
If I'm not commuting anymore, where do I really want to live?
While you handle life's questions, Merrill Guided Investing helps you manage your portfolio and invest for your next move with the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and minimum. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
Dell's semi-annual sale is the perfect time to power up productivity and gaming victories. Now you can save what Dell employees save on high-performance tech. Save 17% on the latest XPS and Alienware computers with Intel Core processors. Plus, check out exclusive savings on Dell monitors, headsets, and accessories for greater immersion in all you do. Upgrade today by calling 800-BY-DELL. Again, that's 800-BY-DELL, or you can visit Dell.com/semi-annual sale.
If you own a small business, you know how hard it can be to find new customers. Town Square has new tools that can help your business stand out and grow. Go to GetLocalCustomersNow.com for a free competitive analysis that will show you what other businesses are doing to find new customers and how you can do it too with Town Square. Be one of the first businesses to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising on this station. Start growing your business today. Visit GetLocalCustomersNow.com. That's GetLocalCustomersNow.com.
As a dentist, I know what my patients are saying.
Mm-hmm.
She says her gums are irritated.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you can do? You can try new Crest Advanced Gum Restore. It detoxifies below the gum line to restore your gums back to health in just 7 days.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. Watch the show live at 97.3ESPN.com through our social media channels, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And don't forget, DraftKings for the March Madness Tournament, America's top-rated sports book. It's here. And the tournament starts – all right, well, the tournament starts really on Thursday with the play-in games, the first 4. But you know when the action starts. It all starts on Friday. And use the DraftKings Sports app, my app, Use my code 973 and get in on the action with the great promotions. The DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 rated sports app. Use the promo code 973 and get your shot at big money during the tournament with the, in my opinion, the best sportsbook app there is, DraftKings Sportsbook app. All right, we got a lot to do. Paul Hudrick 320 today. I thought Thybulle was excellent last night. I thought Dwight Howard was great. A lot of energy. Bradley's been nice. I want to see more from Reed now that he's up. Give him a shot to play a little stretch. But this Sixers team, I'm telling you this right now, Daryl Morey's working the phones, and I'm interested to see what happens with this team over the next when's that trade deadline? We're looking at the 25th, so we're looking at 2 weeks from Thursday. You know what? It should be interesting to see what Morey ends up doing. If you go to our website, 973ESPN.com, Bobby Marks from ESPN, he did a Instagram video chat that I ended up watching, and he talked about how the Sixers are loaded with assets. For more details on that, go to 973ESPN.com. But essentially, what he was saying is, and I didn't realize this, the Sixers have, now I know they had the trade exception. They also have 7 expiring contracts. That's why he's saying they're loaded with assets. On top of the draft picks, they are loaded with second-round picks. The expiring contracts that they have on this team, that is where they will make a big splash potentially, or they could make a big splash, I should say, potentially in the trade market. All right, let me go to some of the let me go with some of the comments in the chat section today. Mike, you're cooking like Bobby Flay. You're cooking this dude like Bobby Flay. Hey, look, if you're going to come to the show and hate somebody, you got to have reasons, legitimate reasons. Look, I don't even like Howie Roseman, but I feel like what I don't like is I'm not a Howie Roseman fan or detractor. I really don't care about Howie Roseman all that much. Here's what I'll say. The hate is way too much. It's too much. I can't allow that to just people spew stuff just because they don't like somebody. If you have legitimate reasons, and I'll agree with you on, there are legitimate reasons why you could say, this is why I don't like Roseman. But the people most of the time don't bring those reasons to the table. They bring manufactured reasons to the table. If you told me, hey, I don't like Rosen because of the way he interacts with the players, okay, I have a problem with that too. If you told me I don't like Roseman because he's, he only hits on 55% of his draft picks. All right, well, that's a reason. You can't act like he does no good. I can't let that. That's just polluting the airwaves. To tell me that he does zero good. And even in the draft, if you said, look, all right, I got to give him credit. He's drafted this guy and that guy, but he just doesn't hit enough for my liking. All right, that's fine. But that's not the way that most people approach it. Howie has made some bad decisions, but this fan base is off the hook. If we fired him, we statistically have a 75% chance of getting a much worse GM. That's a good point. Because according to his peers, Roseman's a top 10 GM in football for like the last 6 years. The grass isn't always greener.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tonight on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates calling all the play-by-play action.
Oh, big save by Carter Hart.
The Flyers are in New York to face the Rangers. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey on the radio home of the Flyers in South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN and listen live on the free mobile app.
On some models excludes Corvette with GMF financing, excludes prior sales. See dealer for details. If you've been waiting for the best deal you can find on a brand new Chevy, then your wait has paid off big time. Right now, during Bennett Chevy's March Markdown event, you can save up to 25% off many of our most popular models. That's right. With Bennett Chevy's famous GM supplier employee pricing, plus you keeping all the rebates, that's up to a whopping 25% off MSRP. Plus, for a limited time, there's 0% financing available on our hottest Chevy models. Got an old beater? Get it to Bennett for an unbeatable $7,000 minimum towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. That's at least $7,000. Imagine what we'll pay for a good trade. And our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. So buying at Bennett's always a pleasure with no need to negotiate, plus there's never any sales pressure. Get to Bennett Chevy during our March Markdown event and find new roads. Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
This is Cape May County Commissioner Len Desiderio. We are making progress in the fight against COVID. Please get tested and quarantine if you are positive to prevent the spread. Testing remains very important to our efforts. Everyone is frustrated by the slow supply of vaccine, but we are working with the state to get more doses to Cape May County. And we thank you for your patience. Make sure you are registered with the state at covidvaccine.nj.gov or call 855-568-0545 for personal assistance. COVID has used up so much of our patience, but we need just a little more. Thank you for all of your hard work. Now we have to finish strong, safely together.
March's biggest tournament is finally here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is putting new customers in the center of the action. Bet $4 on an underdog, win $256 if they win. It's that simple. Pick one of the many select college basketball underdogs for your shot at winning $256. All it takes is a $4 bet. Don't worry, if college basketball isn't for you, DraftKings Sportsbook offers great odds and promotions on golf, hockey, and so much more. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use my code 973 when you sign up to turn $4 into $256. If the underdog of your choosing pulls off the upset, that's code 973 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, James, that order just doubled. We got to move fast here.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business thin.
Somebody pick up that phone.
Like at Luca's Gourmet Frozen Pizza Company. To operate at scale, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply. Mom, I'm hungry. Popcorn?
We should live stream this.
Already am. With this new plan from Walmart Family Mobile, I get 40 gigabytes of high-speed data for under $40 a month. It's a limited time deal. Ooh, watch out, loose ball.
Whoa.
That's double the data with no contract or surprise fees. Yay, buzzer beater! All powered by T-Mobile's nationwide network. Makes me feel like I'm a step ahead. Available at Walmart. Double data ends July 31st, 2021. Hotspot does not double. See terms at myfamilymobile.com. Walmart Family Mobile.
If you own a small business, you know how hard it can be to find new customers. Now, Town Square Media has new tools that can help your business stand out and grow. Go to GetLocalCustomersNow.com for a free competitive analysis that will show you what other businesses are doing to find new customers and how you can do it too with Town Square Media. Be one of the first business owners to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising on this station. Start growing your business today. Visit GetLocalCustomersNow.com. That's GetLocalCustomersNow.com.
The radio home of the Sports Bash with Mike Gill. WENJ, WENJ-HD, Millville, Atlantic City, 97.3 ESPN. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
All right, a Monday edition of the Sports Bash, 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And if you're watching the show live, from our website, 973ESPN.com. Share the show if you're watching it live. Spread the word. I think this week is an interesting week because we got the tournament. I love the tournament. I want to get people's thoughts. So are you a tournament? Okay, 100% brackets. Love the brackets. I still love the brackets, but I love the brackets I have to do the paper bracket still. I still have to fill out the paper bracket. I have the paper bracket with the highlighter. Look, my highlighter's in my hand right here. I have the paper bracket with the highlighter. I've got the red marker. You know, you got to cross out the games that you get wrong with the red X. And then you highlight the game that you get right. You fold that thing all up. Who out there still does the paper bracket? I run the pool all the time because I want the paper brackets. I don't want to do now. You run it online so they can keep the score for you. They do all the scoring for you. So you do it on like a website like CBS Sports or whoever kind of runs those free brackets. But now this year sucks because typically I would be in Clearwater for the tournament and we would have our brackets down there and we fill them out. We'll go to the bar and have the brackets. And then we got the pens at the bar. When the games are over, we're going crazy and we're highlighting the sheets up. And by the time that, first day of the tournament's over, your sheet's got like, creases in it and you got it in the back of your pocket. You're carrying that all over the place. You're watching the game on TV. You're looking at the bracket to see, I need this one. Oh, no, but I already, all these two. You got to have the paper bracket. And not having the tournament last year, I feel like I'm on overload caffeine of like, I need this tournament. So Jeff Nadeau is going to join us. I don't know anybody in my life that I've ever met that knows more about college basketball, both betting and just rando college basketball. He will join me tonight at 5:20. And we will go through this bracket, go through some games, and then he'll be on tomorrow to give us some betting tips. And then on Thursday, Jeff and I will be live. Yeah, I am going to be out of the studio for the first time. My God, I can't remember the last time we did a live show. I guess it was 4th of July. We did like a quick live show at the Hard Rock for one day. But other than that, we have not been out of the studio to do a live show. So we will be doing the show live this Thursday at the brand new FanDuel Sportsbook, which I am really looking forward to seeing. So this is going to be Thursday. Jeff will be with me live. So if you want to come out and meet the show, meet Jeff, meet me, come on out. We'll have the show live on video. So I like Matt. Paper or bust. Yeah, you got to go paper. Get some wing sauce on it. You got to get the wing sauce. That's good. You got food on the bracket, but you also have to carry, Matt. You got to carry the pens with you at all. This time of the year, I always have this pen with me. I always carry the pen in my pocket. So this pen that I'm holding up on the video, this pen goes with me everywhere I go. All right. You got to see the setup I have in front of me. I'll try for the people watching on the video. I will bring you inside the studio real quick here. So I've got a different pen for every team and every sporting event that we carry on the radio. All right. So I write the schedule out. It's on this thing right here. You see the schedule? All right. So that's all the games that we carry in March. All right. So this is for February and there's all the games. Okay. So I keep the schedule. Now, you would say, well, why don't you just have an email? I do have an email, too. I'm just so, I don't know. I'm just so, particular, I guess, would be the word, that I like it in two. I'll show you what my email, I'll show you what my draft looks like. All right. If you're watching the show, I'm going to share my screen, and you can see what the email looks like. All right. So I have an email that has all of the games. So let me share the screen real quick, and I will show you what my email looks like right now. So I have a draft. It's just a running draft that constantly just keeps getting updated. All right. So there you go. So I have all the games that we carry right here. So you see Monday night, we've got the Flyers. Tuesday night, we've got the Sixers. Wednesday night, we got the Sixers. Thursday night, we got the Flyers. Friday, we've got the NCAA tournament. I've got every game that we're going to carry, or my options of games to carry, from now all the way through May 16th, when the Sixers play the Magic to close out the season. So I've got every single thing in there. So I will show you. All right. So this is what it looks like in here. So for a Sixers game, I got the red. For an Eagles game, I've got the green. For a Flyers game, I go with the orange. For an NBA or MLB game, I go with the blue. For like a high school game, basketball, I go with the brown. When we go like anything like that's kind of like random, I got the black. And then I also have a yellow here, which I don't really ever use because it doesn't show up all that good. But then I've got the bigger version. I've got the big red when the game gets canceled, because of COVID. Got to cancel that. I have the black one if there's two games at the same time, and whatever game that I'm going to pick over the other game gets the black line through it, meaning you lost out. You weren't as you weren't as desirable as the other game. And then I have a blue one that comes into play very, 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 very infrequently if I have to move arrows and say like this got moved to here or something like that. So I got all these different pens. They all sit in front of me like the whole show. And as things get updated to me, I go to my little piece of paper thing over here and I'll do all that. But that's what the tournament is to me. The tournament is back and I couldn't be happier. So Jeff's going to join me tonight. And Jeff, by the way, I believe right there, can't wait to join Mike later. He's watching the show, Big Man on Betting. So make sure you follow him as well. He's got a lot of betting stuff that he's doing on the tournament. We're going to do a lot as well. Jeff Bone says, Embiid listens to the Sports Bash. You could tell. Now, what would make you think that? Adam Hyatt is watching the show from Canada. Hello, Adam. Was that a good Canadian accent? I don't think so. I think so. All right, I want to get back into a couple things here. Rob Gamble. People hate Howie every year until he figures it out. Then they love him again. Yeah, Howie had his own season. It was Howie's season. And they won a Super Bowl, and then they went to the playoffs twice, and then they lost a bunch of games because the team had a lot of injuries, and now we hate him again. It's crazy, but hey, you're entitled to not liking somebody, but if you're not going to like somebody, have a legitimate reason. You can't give me false facts as to why you don't like somebody. You could say, I don't like the way he dresses. I don't like the way he talks. I would say that's a reason why most people don't like Roseman, not because of legitimate reasons. Dan is watching on Facebook. Dan says, was the Slay signing really that good? He seems okay, but not a shutdown corner. Yeah, I mean, he's not like this elite all-pro. I think people thought they were getting this elite all-pro. Now, that being said, I think Slay did not play as well as he had played in Detroit. I think some of that was injury. I think some of that was the fact that this team just defensively was not very good on the other side, and it just made the quarterback get a lot of confidence no matter who the heck he was throwing at. I think Slay's he's a Pro Bowl guy, but he's not like a perennial Pro Bowler, if that makes sense. Like he might make it this year, but he won't make it the next year, but then he'll make it again. He's not an all-pro level, but was it that good of a signing? Look, if you remember going into last year, this team thought they were right there. They thought they were right there. The window was open. They were on the precipice of, the year before, they thought they were right there. So they went out and got guys they thought could help them win a Super Bowl. Dan follows up and wants to know, why can't the Eagles get anything for Ertz? Is he that bad? I thought tight ends were so valuable. Now, Dan, come on. It's not that you have to understand. If you can't understand this and you're a sports fan, I don't understand how you're a sports fan and you don't know the answer to this question. This is a simple answer. Why can't they get anything for Ertz? He's 30 years old, which in the NFL means you're 50. In like dog years, like we say in dog years. In NFL years, Ertz is 50. 30-year-old guys just don't. Not to mention, he makes a lot of money. People don't want to pay a lot of money for older guys. There's a salary cap. Teams didn't make any money last year because they couldn't have fans. The tight end is valuable. But not a 30-year-old guy making $8.5 million. Not that valuable. Because, you know why? Because you can go in the draft and get a younger guy now because they're so valuable. There's so much talent at that position available now. You don't have to overpay to go get a guy like Zach Ertz because there's a lot of options out there. So you know the answers to that, Dan. Why can't they get anything for Ertz? Because he's 30 years old making $8.5 million. That's why. 609-403-0973 is the text board. So today's the day. We're going to keep our eyes on stuff. Jalen Mills, by the way, is going to New England. So the Eagles have lost Jalen Mills. It's a 4-year, $24 million deal. And I don't know what position he's going to be playing, corner or safety, but the way that it's written by Mike Garafolo is that he's taking his versatility to Foxborough. The Green Goblin. Now, is he going to go blue hair, red hair, or just go back to natural colored hair? The guy's had to have green hair for the last how many years? Since he's been drafted. You know, Mills is an underappreciated guy. 7th round pick, by the way. There's a guy that Roseman doesn't get credit for. Hey, he found Jalen Mills in the 7th round. The guy started on the team that won the Super Bowl, and he's been a starting player from essentially. Now, the problem is, well, I don't like Jalen Mills. He gets burnt too much. The guy started on the Super Bowl winning team, Jalen Mills. You got drafted in the 7th round. That's the kind of thing that you'd say, look, I don't like Roseman, but I got to give him credit for that, right? You got to give him credit for that. By the way, FanDuel is at Bally's. Somebody on the text board. It is the new sportsbook. It just opened up there. So I can't even really tell you a whole heck of a lot about what it looks like because it literally just opened. So it's the brand new sportsbook inside Bally's. Hey, Mike, why aren't you in Clearwater? What do you want to rub salt in my wound there, pal? I'm not in Clearwater because there's a pandemic going on, and I have chosen to not go there because there's a lot of people there. I'm sad about it, so don't rub it in. Jalen Mills to the Pats. Eagles now need 2 starting safety, Mills and BE, and Rodney has an ATL. Mills to New England, and Rodney has an ACL tear. Yeah, underrated, and we're going to talk to Moshe about this. It's underrated how much of a hole they have at the safety position. Huge hole at the safety position. They got to figure this out, what they're going to do there, because they're not drafting a safety in the 1st round. We talked to DeCecco about that. There's not a 1st-round talent at that position. So I don't know what they're going to do to fix this safety position. 609-403-0973 on the text board, 609-403-0973. I tell you this. Dan says they're extending. Then why are the Eagles extending all their over 30-year-old players? They don't have a choice. They have to because they started about $40 million over the cap. They didn't have anybody else to approach. They had a now. Hold on, let me go back and read that text message. Why are they extending? Okay, they're not extending the contracts of all their 30. They're restructuring. There's a difference between a restructure and an extension. They are extending Brandon Graham's contract, but it's only for like 1 more year. The other guys are not getting their contracts extended. They're getting their contracts restructured. That's a big difference. How are people this big as sports fans and don't know these little things? Those are the things that drive me wild. People love sports all that much, and these little basic things like people don't understand. Yeah, they're not extending these players. They are restructuring these players, which is essentially a tactic that the Eagles employ to change the way they pay you so that the money is spread out differently and the cap counts against the cap differently. Now, one question that's a fair question to ask is, like, why, when they restructure these guys, did they not just make the contract that way initially? Now, Josh said that they were talking about this somewhere over the weekend, but I don't have the answer to that question. I'll ask Moshe about that coming up. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. Here. Coming up, Paul Hudrick inside the Sixers. we will take a look at what the Sixers are going to do without Joel Embiid. Brought to you by Matt Blatt Kia. They want to get you approved today. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. All right, if you're watching the show live at 97.3 ESPN, we will continue to put your comments up on the screen. Mint Diggity. I like Mills. He played hard as he always brought it. Yeah, Mint Diggity is right. Mills is a guy they found in the 7th round and that they should be applauded for. And that was a Howie Roseman pick. Back with more Sports Bash.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Simmons downhill, comes in, jams in, and a foul, a rugged basket by Ben Simmons.
The Sixers host the New York Knicks tomorrow. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
Termite season is quickly approaching. Is your home protected? Whether you're renovating or getting ready for spring, stop termites, mice, and ants in their tracks. Visit VikingPest.com for a pest-free home. That's VikingPest.com.
On some models, excludes Corvette. With GMF financing, excludes prior sales. See dealer for details. If you've been waiting for the best deal you can find on a brand new Chevy, then your wait has paid off big time. Right now, during Bennett Chevy's March Markdown event, you can save up to 25% off many of our most popular models. That's right. With Bennett Chevy's famous GM supplier employee pricing, plus you keeping all the rebates, that's up to a whopping 25% off MSRP. Plus, for a limited time, there's 0% financing available on our hottest Chevy models. Got an old beater? Get it to Bennett for an unbeatable $7,000 minimum towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. That's at least $7,000. Imagine what we'll pay for a good trade. And our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. So buying at Bennett's always a pleasure with no need to negotiate, plus there's never any sales pressure. Get to Bennett Chevy during our March Markdown event and find new roads. Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Good morning, privates! Good morning, Drill Sergeant! I mean, seriously, what a pleasant morning. The sun is shining and the birds are chirping. You seem to be in a good mood today. Astute observation.
He's probably happy because he found out Honey Nut Cheerios can help lower cholesterol as part of a heart-healthy diet.
They're even shaped like hearts. So, in lieu of the obstacle course today, I propose a nice meditative nature walk. Does that sound delightful to everyone? Yes, Drill Sergeant!
Happy Heart Shapes are back for a limited time. Learn more about Honey Nut Cheerios by picking up a box at your local store.
Those big wireless companies try to lure you in with a new phone just to lock you into a contract. Not Simple Mobile. If you have a great smartphone you love, you can get a powerful nationwide 5G network without the contract. Just text the word BYOP to 611611 to see if your phone's compatible. Simple Mobile. Out with the old, in with the simple. Message and data rates may apply. Visit simplemobile.com/privacy policy for privacy policy and the terms and conditions at simplemobile.com/terms and conditions. Compatible 5G capable device and SIM required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. 5G network not available in all areas. 5G upload speeds not yet available.
Dell's semi-annual sale is the perfect time to power up productivity and gaming victories. Now you can save what Dell employees save on high-performance tech. Save 17% on the latest XPS and Alienware computers with Intel Core processors. Plus, check out exclusive savings on Dell monitors, headsets, and accessories for greater immersion in all you do. Upgrade today by calling 800-BY-DELL. Again, that's 800-BY-DELL, or you can visit Dell.com/semi-annual sale.
I had been taking probably 700-800 milligrams of opioids a day, which is an insane amount.
David is in recovery from an addiction to prescription opioids.
Eventually, my whole life began to unravel. I realized that I needed help. And in recovery, I found my purpose. Addiction is a disease of isolation and loneliness. There is a way out. You don't have to do this alone.
If you or someone you know is struggling, there is hope. Recovery is possible. Visit cdc.gov/RX awareness.
Today, pros have to do whatever it takes. The Home Depot is here to make that easier. We've got the products you know and trust on our app, delivery options to get what you need exactly where you need it, and a delivery tracker that keeps you up to date on the status of your order so you can keep doing what you do best, whatever it takes to get the job done. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
If you own a small business, you know how hard it can be to find new customers. Now, Town Square Media has new tools that can help your business stand out and grow. Go to getlocalcustomersnow.com for a free competitive analysis that will show you what other businesses are doing to find new customers and how you can do it too with Town Square Media. Be one of the first business owners to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising on this station. Start growing your business today. Visit getlocalcustomersnow.com. That's getlocalcustomersnow.com.
You can watch the Sports Bash live now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Search 97.3 ESPN or visit our website, 97.3ESPN.com.
All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Time now for Inside the Sixers. We take a unique look at the Sixers each and every day. It's brought to you by Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your local provider who makes it easy to upgrade your home to the most energy-efficient equipment on the market. Plus, learn how to get a free furnace during the month of March only online at broadlees.net. Our Sixers insider, Paul Hudrick from 97.3 ESPN.com. He is the host of the Coming In for a Landing podcast, which is out now. Check it out. And he joins us here on the Boardwalk Honda hotline as the Sixers with, I got to say, Paul, it might be in the entire Embiid Simmons era, it might be one of the most impressive games I've seen them play, and that's without Joel Embiid.
I'll tell you what, two of their last three have been pretty darn impressive without Joel Embiid, which is, when you just think about it in the context of how poorly this team has played without Joel Embiid over the years, to have two blowouts over the span of, 3 games without him, it's mind-blowing. I think that speaks to the veteran presence that are, some of the players, a guy like Danny Green, a guy like Seth Curry, Dwight Howard, Tobias Harris, and the professionalism he brings. It's a big time growth step. And you have to obviously give Doc Rivers credit because they're not taking opponents lightly. And without those other guys, other players are stepping up and they're playing just really good team basketball. Not to oversimplify it too much, but really good team basketball on both sides.
They really are. And I want to get your take on, what are they doing without Embiid different, if anything? What is different about the way they're approaching these games without Joel? Or are they just saying, hey, Tony Bradley and Dwight Howard, give us your best? Or are they building things, or are they, offensively, are they doing a little something different without Joel? Because Joel gets a ton of touches. So how are they compensating for not having him?
Yeah, it's very clear. They're running the offense mostly through Tobias and Ben Simmons, and then looking to score off of that, whether it's kickouts to Danny Green or Seth Curry, whether it's maybe a dribble handoff or a pick and roll with Seth Curry. You saw a little bit of that with Tony Bradley, but yeah, I think the idea is you don't need Tony Bradley or Dwight Howard to beat Joel Embiid because he's Joel Embiid. He's arguably the MVP. I think he is the MVP of the league up until now. We'll see what happens, but yeah, you don't need those guys to be that. You need them to be Tony Bradley and Dwight Howard. And those guys are pretty good. And they can give you, what Tony Bradley does, like what he does well. I think Doc Rivers is kind of bringing that out. And same with Dwight Howard. And I think if I'm going to give Doc Rivers credit for anything, and I think kind of what he's done for Tobias Harris is kind of a microcosm of it, is he looks at guys and he plays to their strengths. It's not about, oh, you need to do that. No, like what works for you? How can I get the most out of you? And I think that might be, with all due respect to Brett Brown, I think that might be the biggest difference that Doc Rivers has done with Tobias Harris, with Ben Simmons. And I think you're seeing it right now with Tony Bradley and Dwight Howard. None of these guys are trying to do too much. They're playing within themselves. And when they all do that, they can contribute. Tony Bradley has been, it's been kind of illuminating to watch him play over the last 3 games. Like it's, like when that trade went down for Zaire Smith, you were like, Tony Bradley, like what is, like, he had some good advanced metric numbers and all that kind of stuff, but no one expected this. And as a third center right now, that is looking like a masterstroke by Daryl Morey in the front office.
Yeah, I know Bradley's interesting. He was a first-round pick. People don't realize he was a guy who was a first-round pick and maybe just bloomed a little late. And this isn't to say, who needs Embiid? You got Bradley, much like Embiid tweeted the other night, hey, build around Bradley. But it'll be interesting to see how much he can keep this up. The tandem of him and Howard. I thought Howard was terrific last night. I thought he played with a ton of energy. Now, the next guy that I thought last night really was terrific and has been terrific is Thybulle. if he could shoot the way he's been shooting, you really have something here. But you almost wonder, does Doc have to reevaluate how much time figure out a way to get him more playing time?
Well, if he keeps hitting threes at the rate he's hitting threes, and if he keeps kind of just doing it, like doing those little things offensively that maybe, don't show up, but, understanding the spacing of the offense, understanding where to be when Joel Embiid posts up or when Ben Simmons posts up or when there's just kind of knowing where he's supposed to be on the floor and finding those little empty spots, knowing when to cut. I feel like, again, I think I said this before, but Danny Green is a perfect example of what Thybulle should aspire to be. And Thybulle has the potential, to me, to be a better defender than Danny Green was even in his prime. So if he could just kind of understand the way Danny Green has learned how to play with star players and kind of fit into the offense, the sky's kind of the limit in that role, is that 3-and-D player. And it's an ideal role when you're talking about a team that already has Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris, to have a guy like Thybulle that's so impactful defensively. And Mike, what's to me, the best thing that he has done this year is he's still making those impact plays. He's still getting deflections. He's still coming up with steals and blocks, but he's also playing smarter. He's not fouling as much. He's not as jumpy as he was. And he's playing against Zach LaVine and Bradley Beal and these good players. And what was impressive against those two guys is not necessarily that he held them to low percentages, but he held them to low volume of shots. They couldn't even attempt shots because he was playing them so well. So I just think, to your point, to your question, Mike, if he keeps hitting threes at this rate, Doc Rivers can't keep him off the floor because he's so impactful defensively.
Well, and what I guess it really opens up is the possibility of, not that they wouldn't feel comfortable moving Green, but I think it would make you feel a heck of a lot better about moving Green if I have Thybulle's defense and him hitting shots. Not that Green's been hitting shots at this amazing, ability, but he has the pedigree. He can hit a shot, and he plays okay defense. I think his legs are starting to give out on that end of the court, at times. But now you feel better about Thybulle playing more meaningful minutes. Does that jive with you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Danny Green, I agree that I think the one thing I've noticed about him defensively, he's still pretty good, but you're right. I don't think he's a guy who you throw on the number one option of another team. I don't think he can do that anymore, but he's certainly not a minus. He's still a plus. When you play a team like the Wizards, should he be guarding Bradley Beal? No, he should not. But he can handle other assignments. He can handle, I would say his biggest issue is kind of like the more explosive players. Those kind of guys aren't really that's not really in his wheelhouse anymore. But what it does is it just gives Doc Rivers more confidence and more flexibility. So maybe Danny Green starts a game, but if Thybulle's doing a really good job, you can close with Thybulle. And I think that's another thing to compliment Doc Rivers on, not to gush over Doc too much in this segment, but if something is working, he'll close with the line. He doesn't feel like he has to close with his starting five. If Matisse Thybulle or Shake Milton are giving him good minutes, he's comfortable saying, okay, I'll close with those guys because they're playing well. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that you just gives you Matisse playing this way is just giving Doc more confidence, and he's not afraid to put him in there in big situations, especially knowing he's not going, maybe he doesn't add a ton to the offense, but he's not going to hurt the offense.
Yeah, no question. And another thing, I want to get your opinion on this because you wrote a great draft primer. I encourage everybody to go read this at 973ESPN.com. It's a really good in-depth look at the trade, but how does that change? I know you just wrote this whole thing, but how does it change, if at all? And I'm not telling you need to go write a whole nother one, but with Joel Embiid out, do they expedite the process? Do they have to target a different, spot possibly? How, if at all, does losing Embiid for 2 to 3 weeks, hopefully, change anything for Daryl Morey?
Yeah, if it were me, and I don't know what Daryl Morey's thinking, but if it were me, I would stay the course. He's going to be out for at least 2 weeks. Obviously, he's going to be reevaluated at that time, so we'll see if he's back in the lineup or if he needs a little bit more time to heal. To me, I'm going at it the same way. I don't want to overreact. It's, it was, I think if it's that time, I believe it's 8 games he'd miss. So he's already missed 1. So you just got to get through maybe 7 more games without him. So just weather the storm, try to win as many games as you can without him, and then approach the trade deadline, to me, the same way you would have if he was healthy. And that is, if you can land that big fish, like let's say, again, for the best example of that is Kyle Lowry, you go aggressively after it because he gives you a really good shot to compete with a team like the Nets or the Bucks and to maybe come out of the East. So if that opportunity is still there, you take it. But I'm getting the sense, I'm feeling more like if it's not Lowry, it's not going to be a big splash. It's going to be more, a couple solid moves on the margins, a couple bench guys, just bolster the depth. Maybe not to take over anyone's spot necessarily on that bench unit that has played extremely well recently, but just to give, again, more options for Doc Rivers. So if he gets into a playoff series and someone's struggling, he's got another guy he can go to. A guy like Will Barton, I know that's a guy that's been thrown out there. He would be an excellent fit. You look at, you bring him off the bench, maybe you upgrade over Korkmaz. He's a little bit better defensively.
Last night, do I want to upgrade over Korkmaz?
Listen, no, I hear, and if I'm being honest, like the bench has been great, but I still worry about the sustainability of that over the course of the second half and against better teams. Like with all due respect to the three teams they played, what happens when they play deeper teams? What happens when that bench unit has to go up against, a Nets lineup that might have 2 or 3 stars in it? Are they going to be able to hang? So that's where my concern comes in. And I just think, and having that firepower, because yes, and I take nothing away from Furkan Korkmaz because he's played very well, but the consistency, the ability to create off the dribble, and the defense, I think that's all an upgrade that a guy like a Will Barton can give you. But that to me, that's an upgrade. That's the kind of deals I'm looking at. If it's like a on the margins move where you don't have to give up much, then I'm probably keeping for Korkmaz with that bench unit and just kind of creating more competition.
Yeah, no, and I'm half joking. I mean, he has nights where he's just shooting it. He shoots it, pretty well. I'm kind of intrigued by your thoughts on Reed. He came in last night in garbage time, hit a 3. If you watched or paid attention to him in the G League at all, he hit about 45% of his threes. Do the Sixers find enough intrigue to give him some rotational minutes in that stretch 4 spot? Do you see that happening?
I personally don't see that happening because I think Doc likes
45% of your threes. Don't you want to? I might be just intrigued to see why you hit 45%, and then he came out last night and stroked one.
Right. I think he might get a look at some point in some way. I don't know how that will happen. Whether that's an injury, whether that's someone getting in foul trouble, I think he gets a look. Or another scenario could be, what if a team throws out a stretch 5 at you that really isn't a good matchup for Tony Bradley or Dwight Howard? Then maybe do you go to Paul Reed because maybe he can play that stretch 5 role and give you some good minutes there. So I think he gets some form of opportunity, but I also don't think that Doc Rivers is necessarily going to go out of his way to give him that, if that makes sense. Listen, again, I don't want to take anything away from him. The kid played unbelievable. He should be the G League MVP. Like, honestly, he really should be because he played that well down there. But it's a different game. The team is playing so well right now. That bench unit looks really good. Do you really want to mess with that flow right now? So that's kind of where I see it. But I do think at some point, again, whether it's injury, whether it's personnel of the other team, he'll get a look in some way, whether that's I see it more as a stretch 5 than a stretch 4, but we'll see what Doc Rivers has in mind.
All right. I know that. And by the way, again, I implore everybody to go check out Paul's draft primer over at 97.3ESPN.com. Bobby Marks commented over the weekend that the Sixers are loaded with assets. And I think first I'm thinking to myself, what does he mean by this? The draft, the trade exception is one reason. 7 expiring contracts is one of the reasons why he feels like they have a real ability here. So I didn't really figure that they had 7 expiring contracts. This is a way that Daryl Morey can get really creative.
Absolutely. I know Sam Amick of The Athletic just put out like a trade. I think it was like 12 trade targets he had out there, and Kyle Lowry was obviously listed. And if you look at all the other, like a team like the Clippers was his example. The Clippers, how on earth could they possibly do the salary to make it work for Kyle Lowry? I don't see a path for that. And then they can't offer nearly as attractive of a package as a team like the Sixers could. And I think that's that flexibility And a mind like Daryl Morey with that flexibility is dangerous. And I mean that in a good way. The expiring contracts, they have an $8.2 million trade exception from the Al Horford deal. They still have the taxpayer mid-level for buyout guys. I mean, they can make things work. They had Danny Green's $15 million contract. If you want to go after that big fish, that could go a long way in matching salary. Mike Scott at $5 million. I mean, they have some really interesting expiring contracts. And guys that like a guy like Terrence Ferguson, who doesn't factor in on this team at all, is $3.9 million on an expiring contract.
Poirier.
That could be Poirier. Absolutely. Those contracts could be really, really valuable if you're just looking at matches and then wanting to use. And the other thing is, too, first-round picks. The Sixers only have the 2025 first-round pick is the only one that they do not have. So they possess all their first-round picks. They have a bunch of second-round picks. So compared to other contenders, they are in an excellent spot to make an addition or two.
We know that Joel is going to miss at least 2 to 3 weeks here. I mean, you think they see how they're doing over this 10 games, this 10-day span or 14-day span, bring him back slowly, or do you think they want to get him back out there? There are some contractual ramifications if Joel has an exceptional season, let's say.
Right. I think they're going to be smart. I think he's going to be smart too, because I think he gets it from this. I think what this year has proven about Joel Embiid is that he just gets it. The light bulb has gone on for him in a big way. And I think part of that is realizing I need to be smart about what I like. I think he's listening to his body. Like when his back is bothering him and he's like, you know what, this doesn't feel right. I don't think I should play on it. And then he doesn't play. Or if his back is hurting a little bit, but he's like, you know what, it hurts, but I think I'm good. Like I think he just kind of has that feel for his body now that maybe he didn't have last year or the year before. So I think that's a part of it. He's going to, as much as, of course, the doctors and the athletic training staff are going to have to clear him, I think he is going to be smart enough to know, all right, I'm good. I can play on this. Or no, you know what? Let's just give it a couple more days and let's see where we're at. So I think they're going to be smart about it because, look, the number one seed doesn't matter. The MVP, winning the MVP doesn't matter if Joel Embiid isn't there for the playoffs. That's all. That really is all that matters. If it's 3 weeks and they get bumped down to the 3 seed, it's worth it to give him that extra week to make sure he is 100%. I get what you're saying about the contractual stuff, and of course, him being MVP would go a long way in a lot of ways. But the Sixers will take care of him in his next contract, so I don't know if he's that worried about that. But yeah, I think they're going to be cautious because this guy's just way too valuable and way too important to where they want to go and trying to compete for a title.
Yeah, it was a fun game last night. Great ball movement. I mean, tremendous defense last night. They had a lot of elements of a fun team to watch. They beat a Spurs team who's a playoff team right now. The worst loss in the history of the Spurs franchise. I mean, some people listening have never seen the Spurs not make the playoffs. So to beat them as handily as they did last night was one of the more impressive and entertaining games to watch. It was just fun. Now, you're not going to hit 50% from 3 the way they shot it last night, but it was good stuff. Sixers insider Paul Hudrick at Paul Hudrick on Twitter. He's the host of the Coming In for a Landing podcast. You had a little reunion on that podcast, so everybody go check that out. And you can check that out on YouTube and find Paul on Twitter to go check out his Coming In for a Landing podcast. He and the guys do excellent work on covering the Sixers. Down the stretch they come. The trade deadline in about 2 weeks from Thursday. All right, Paul, we will talk to you on Wednesday, man.
Sounds good, Mike. Take care, man.
Paul's back for Inside the Sixers on Wednesday's show. And, of course, he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline, doing a little research on this deal for Jalen Mills. If you want the particulars, Mills signs a 4-year, $24 million deal, $9 million guarantees with the New England Patriots. Now, last year he played 55% of his snaps at safety. We know he moved from corner to safety, and the Eagles are going to have to replace another. Look, think about this. He played 55% of the snaps at safety, which means he had to go play corner because of all the injury problems they had. So now, essentially, they need 2 players to replace Mills. It's a big loss. And again, that's one of those where, look, if you don't like Roseman, you have to at least say, look, I don't like Roseman. Jalen Mills was a starter on the team that won the Super Bowl in the 7th round. That's finding good talent late in the draft. And Mills is gone. All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And, of course, watch the show live on our website, 97.3ESPN.com. When we come back, I will go through the text board. I will be going through your chat messages. And Jeff Mosher at 4 o'clock for Football at 4. Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. It is brought to you by Matt Blatt Nissan. The all-new Matt Blatt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township next to Home Depot. Online, mattblattnissan.com.
We never stop talking Eagles and NFL. It's Football at 4. Every day at 4 p.m. on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Since there was no basketball tournament last March, Unibet is offering twice the sign-up bonus this year. Get $40 free and $500 risk-free. With twice the bonus, go twice as hard. Woo! Watch on 2 screens. Yeah! On 2 couches. Both cheeks. And place twice the bets. Bonus! Get $40 free and $500 risk-free. Unibet Sportsbook. Crazy about the odds. Must be 21 or over to play and physically located in New Jersey. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, I'm Jordan, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A new Grilled Spicy Deluxe is that cilantro lime sauce that goes on it. That's just an extra kick, a flavor explosion.
Hi, I'm Catherine, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the spiciness of the chicken and the coolness of the cilantro lime sauce. It's the best of both worlds.
Chick-fil-A's Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich, available for a limited time only. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Dell's semi-annual sale is the perfect time to power up productivity and gaming victories. Now you can save what Dell employees save on high-performance tech. Save 17% on the latest XPS and Alienware computers with Intel Core processors. Plus, check out exclusive savings on Dell monitors, headsets, and accessories for greater immersion in all you do. Upgrade today by calling 800-BY-DELL. Again, that's 800-BY-DELL, or you can visit Dell.com/semi-annual sale.
I had been taking probably 800 milligrams of opioids a day, which is an insane amount.
David is in recovery from an addiction to prescription opioids.
Eventually, my whole life began to unravel. I realized that I needed help. And in recovery, I found my purpose. Addiction is a disease of isolation and loneliness. There is a way out. You don't have to do this alone.
If you or someone you know is struggling, there is hope. Recovery is possible. Visit cdc.gov/RxAwareness.
Today, pros have to do whatever it takes. The Home Depot is here to make that easier. We've got the products you know and trust on our app, delivery options to get what you need exactly where you need it, and a delivery tracker that keeps you up to date on the status of your order, so you can keep doing what you do best, whatever it takes to get the job done. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
If I'm not commuting anymore, where do I really want to live?
While you handle life's questions, Merrill Guided Investing helps you manage your portfolio and invest for your next move with the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and minimum. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
Well, I started my own restaurant because I love to cook. But that also means a lot of greasy pots and pans. And we can't waste time with endless sink changeovers. So we upgraded to Dawn Professional Pot and Pan.
Dawn Professional cleans 58% more pots and pans per sink than the leading competitor.
Less dish soap, fewer changeovers, and more time doing what we love.
Dawn Professional. It's clean. Upgraded. From P&G Professional.
Mom, I'm hungry. Popcorn?
We should live stream this.
Already am. With this new plan from Walmart Family Mobile, I get 40 gigabytes of high-speed data for under $40 a month. It's a limited time deal. Oh, watch out, loose ball.
Whoa.
That's double the data with no contract or surprise fees. Yay, buzzer beater. All powered by T-Mobile's nationwide network. Makes me feel like I'm a step ahead. Available at Walmart. Double data ends July 31st, 2021. Hotspot does not double. See terms at myfamilymobile.com. Walmart Family Mobile.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
All right, welcome back. Sports Bash Live, 346, 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And, of course, watch the show live at 97.3ESPN.com. I think, one of the things I'm looking at the chats here, the text board here that you guys are getting involved in. Jalen was great in the Super Bowl. This doesn't make any sense. Jalen was great in Super Bowl. He got torched. He couldn't cover you. Brady threw for 1,000 yards. You're picking one game in his career. Maybe he did not have a great game in the Super Bowl, but he was a starter on the team that won the. Why are we always such a bunch of negative Jags all the time? Do we have to always pick out the negative stuff? Yeah, Mills, nobody on defense played well in the Super Bowl until like the last 2 minutes of the game. Do we have to focus in on the last? We don't focus in on the sack that Brandon Graham gets. We focus in, the defense was horrible that day. They played against an all-time great player. Mills did not play well in that game. That doesn't mean that his whole career was defined by the one game that he played in the Super Bowl. People forget this about that Eagles team, all right? We talk about Foles so much and the run that Foles had for the team and the way that he played quarterback. But what people forget is that to get to that Super Bowl, their defense carried them there. Foles was not very good in the game against the Falcons. The defense gave up 10 points. They gave up 10 points in the playoff game against the Falcons, who had Matt Ryan, Julio Jones. I mean, that was a good Falcons team that was coming off being in the Super Bowl the year before. And then they gave up 7 points in the next round. So the defense gave up 17 points in a 2-game span. Instead, you want to look at the game that he got beat, by the way, that they won against one of the great, if not the greatest quarterback of all time. So, yeah, Jalen Mills did not play well in the Super Bowl. But if not for the defense that Jalen Mills was a big part of in the first 2 games, they don't get to the Super Bowl. That first game against the Atlanta Falcons that they give up 10 points and they are knocking on the door, it's Mills and it's Jenkins and that defense holding on for dear life because Foles couldn't do anything offensively. Who had the interception in that game, in the first game? I know it was Patrick Robinson who had the interception in the Vikings game, but the game against the Falcons, wasn't there? The ball went popping up in the air, and somebody was. I'm not 100% sure if that was, because if you remember, the Falcons, people thought they were going to lose the game to the Rams. They went out and beat the Rams up. I think they beat them like 25, scored like 25, 30 points in that game. But the game that they played the Falcons, that game was like touch and go, back and forth. And I could have sworn that there was I thought it was an interception where the ball just went popping up in the air. And because the game against Minnesota, it's the interception out in the flat by Patrick Robinson. He catches it, takes it to the house, and after that, they just absolutely rout them. If you go back to that game, though, the Falcons just couldn't do anything. They didn't score in the second half. With Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, and that crew. That was a high-powered offense, and they don't score in the second half. Jalen Mills is going to be a big loss for this team. Am I sitting here telling you that Jalen Mills is great? No. But you get a 7th-round pick, and he starts almost every single game for you. Over Mills' career, the guy started 16 games, 15 games. Now, in 18 and 19, he gets hurt. He had that foot injury that caused him to miss the back half of 18 and the first half of 19. But other than that foot injury, I think he had a Liz Frank. Other than that, played 15, 16 games every single year. I mean, he was durable. In the 7th round, you get a starter that plays on your Super Bowl team for boom. So it wasn't an interception. It was Mills had a 2 pass deflected in that game. The one on Jones in the back of the end zone. Jalen Mills signs with the Patriots, Pro Bowler next year. That's from Greg from Ocean City. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to be surprised if he's a Pro Bowler, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're thinking, my God, look what they got out of Jalen Mills. Not that Mills stunk here, but it happened when Patrick Chung, he was not very good here, Patrick Chung. But the defense, a lot of man defense here. Eagles play a lot of man under Jim Schwartz. And with the Eagles, with the Patriots, I would be pretty surprised. Now, I'm interested to see what they do with him. Do they play him out on the perimeter as an outside corner? Do they move him to a slot corner? Or do they continue to play him at safety, which is what the Eagles did last year? We'll get more details on how the Eagles are going to fill the safety position during Football at 4 with Jeff Mosher, who's coming up in about 8 minutes from now. I'll tell you this, talk about Mills, 4 years, $24 million, $9 million in guarantees. One of the problems was people would say, well, how come the Eagles didn't bring him back? They couldn't sign him for that kind of money. This isn't the NBA where you could sign your own guy and it doesn't count against your cap. They couldn't do it right now. They just physically couldn't do it. They could have told him to wait and said, hey, if you wait until after Wednesday. But you think about this, because somebody just texted in asking me about John Johnson from the Rams. Jalen Mills got 4 years, $24 million. What do you think a guy like John Johnson's going to get if Mills is getting that kind of money? And these are the kind of guys that Bill Belichick just eats up. Versatile guy, can play multiple positions. He's going to be all over the place. Now, I will wonder this. Jalen Mills, his Twitter account is @GreenGoblin. Is he going to have to change that now? Or is he going to stay the Green Goblin? He's got the green hair, fluorescent green hair. Is he going to keep that? Is he going to stick with Green Goblin? Is he going to have a new moniker? That's the kind of guy who positions himself as, hey, I'm here for the duration of my contract. But as we just told you, Jalen Mills has signed with the Patriots. And now the Eagles got to figure out a way to fill not one but two roles. He might have been the starting safety last year, but he played a lot of corner. He played 55% of the snaps at safety. You got to figure out, you got to fill possibly two spots. You got Rodney McLeod coming off the ACL injury. Who knows if he's going to be ready to play? This is and look, we thought that of all the free agents that were available for the Eagles to bring back, the only guy, maybe two, was Mills and Curry. We talked about that they might be able to bring back. But they lose Mills. So there's the first domino of the offseason to fall as free agency opens on Wednesday. Keep it locked right here. Sports Bash will keep you updated on all the free agency news, as it's going to be coming in pretty fast and furious. This is like the legal tampering. By the way, a tweet from Rodney McLeod 1 minute ago. Congrats, Green Goblin. We have been a part of many battles in between those white lines. Not many have the heart and competitiveness like Green Goblin. Going to miss you in Philly, bro. Best of luck. Remember, it's always the highest. See you on the other side. That's what Rodney McLeod just tweeted to his safety partner in 2020, Jalen Mills. And more moves are going to start coming in. We're going to continue to keep our eye on it right here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. Will the Eagles be involved? Can they be involved? The Eagles have just lost another safety, Tom Pelissero, 5 minutes ago. The Jaguars have signed Eagles safety Rudy Ford, a 2-year, $4.2 million deal. So the Eagles need another safety. Rudy Ford, mainly a special teamer, but he has signed to go to Jacksonville. Football at 4 is next.
The NCAA tournament is coming to 97.3 ESPN Friday afternoon. Listen to March Madness exclusively on 97.3 ESPN. Catch every buzzer beater, every upset, and every minute of March Madness. Who will cut down the nets this season?
It's good.
Keep it locked to 97.3 ESPN to find out. Listen to the NCAA tournament exclusively on 97.3 ESPN FM, South Jersey's sports leader.
Health update with Robin Stoloff. Learn more, live better.
Loud snoring, waking up with a dry mouth, morning headache, fatigue after a full night's sleep. If you have any of these symptoms, you may be suffering from sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is the starting and stopping of breathing during your sleep. It may cause you to wake up in the middle of the night or wake up feeling unrested. Sleep apnea may not seem like a big deal, but it can actually have serious consequences if left unchecked. There are many causes of sleep apnea, and it's often associated with excess weight. For milder cases of sleep apnea, your doctor may recommend lifestyle changes such as losing weight or quitting smoking. For more severe cases, an oral device or breathing assistance machine such as a CPAP may be recommended. Help is available, so if you think you have sleep apnea, the last thing you want to do is ignore it. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Health update with Robin Stoloff, empowering you to live a healthier life.
Bigger, better, Boardwalk. Boardwalk Honda. Bigger, better, Boardwalk. Boardwalk Honda.
Looking to upgrade? Get to Boardwalk Honda. Take advantage of fresh savings during the Honda Dream Garage Spring Event. Right now, lease a new 2021 HRV LX all-wheel drive for just $89 a month for 36 months. Or lease a new 2021 Civic Sedan LX front-wheel drive for $119 a month for 36 months. Plus, browse our entire selection of pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas. We have it all from store to shore. We're sure to have the vehicle you want at the price you want. Accord, Civic, CRVs, you name it, we have it. Plus, we work with all credit situations. Boardwalk Honda partners with over 25 top financial lenders, so we'll help you get approved and on the road in your new Honda in no time. Visit Boardwalk Honda today, located in Egg Harbor Township, or shop online at boardwalkhonda.com. And remember, from Maine to Miami, nobody beats a Boardwalk deal. Call us toll free at 844-890-3390 for more details.
Boardwalk Honda.
What's in store for your business this week at Staples?
Printing you new signs for the times.
Get back to business with custom printed signs and sales materials. Staples has hundreds of designs to choose from, or just upload your own.
And now at Staples, get 15% off signs, posters, or decals when you spend $75 or more.
Some items printed same day when ordered before 2 p.m.
Save big on custom printing at Staples.
Ends 5/29/21. Exclusions apply. Limit one offer per customer. See store associate or visit staples.com/signage for details.
For a limited time, the Home Depot and Frigidaire have cooked up something truly amazing in the kitchen. Even lower prices on Frigidaire gallery wall ovens with air fry and cooktops, including easy-to-clean induction cooktops, plus free basic hookup and delivery. With prices like these, it's time to take those kitchen remodel plans off the back burner. Bring on spring. With spring savings now on Frigidaire, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Valid through March 31st, U.S. only.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Dell's semi-annual sale is the perfect time to power and gaming victories. Now you can save what Dell employees save on high-performance tech. Save 17% on the latest XPS and Alienware computers with Intel Core processors. Plus, check out exclusive savings on Dell monitors, headsets, and accessories for greater immersion in all you do. Upgrade today by calling 800-BY-DELL. Again, that's 800-BY-DELL, or you can visit Dell.com/semi-annual sale.
If you own a small business, you know how hard it can be to find new customers. Now, Town Square Media has new tools that can help your business stand out and grow. Go to getlocalcustomersnow.com for a free competitive analysis that will show you what other businesses are doing to find new customers and how you can do it too with Town Square Media. Be one of the first business owners to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising on this station. Start growing your business today. Visit getlocalcustomersnow.com. That's getlocalcustomersnow.com.
The radio home of the 76ers.
Oh, boy, what a move by Embiid.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ-HD, Millville, Atlantic City. 97.3 ESPN presents The Sports Bash with Mike Gill. It's time for Football at 4 with Jeff Mosier.
I think our track record in the last 20 years, how many NFC East titles, playoff appearances, and appearances in the NFC Championship game, those are some of the metrics I look at, and I'll compare our record with almost anybody.
Powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Black Kia Studios. This is Football at 4.
Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast, which dropped this morning with a couple of nuggets in it you're going to want to stick around for. We'll get into that. New news just breaking on the Eagles. A couple of free agents are out. Football at 4 is brought to you by Dr. Lyle and Back. For everything from skincare to cosmetic surgery, go to ilovelyle.back.com or call 856-MAKEOVER. Dr. Lyle and Back, proud sponsor of Football at 4. All right, Jeff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast is in the house. We are ready to go as the Eagles have lost. I guess we'll start there, Jeff. They have lost a pair of safeties, one obviously bigger than the other. Jalen Mills, who played 55% of the snaps at safety. He had to play corner and safety last year. This is a pretty big loss for the Eagles. They essentially need to find two guys to replace one for Jalen Mills.
Yeah, we knew safety was a position, Mike, that was going to be, thin going into this year, no matter what the Eagles did, because A, they didn't have a lot of money to spend, and B, you've got Rodney McLeod coming off an ACL and well north of 30. They've got Kevon Wallace, who only saw a little bit of playing time in limited doses last year, right? And so Mills was somebody I thought that they might be able to retain on a one-year deal just like last year, not really knowing what the market was going to be like. And you forget that sometimes there are teams that just have unlimited funds, which the Patriots for years did not have because of all the contracts that they did have, and now they don't. And so they had the opportunity to give Jalen Mills $9 million a year. $9 million guaranteed, right? So that's the big number. I look at that in that contract. I mean, it's probably all going to be paid out in the first year. So if he doesn't perform all that well, they move on. But that's still a great deal for Jalen. And honestly, it's a great situation. That's a team that relies a lot on hybrid type of defensive backs and sub packages with their nickel and dime. We don't know yet about Jonathan Gannon and how much he's going to rely on that type of a scheme and a hybrid defensive back. My sense is that he may not be as big into that as you see the Patriots are. So obviously you can see the value there for New England.
Yeah, and on a smaller scale, Rudy Ford has gone to Jacksonville. So two safeties are out the door for the Eagles. Rudy Ford, Jacksonville. Mills to the Patriots, 4 years, $24 million, $9 million guaranteed for Mills. I guess before we get into some of the other stuff, and there's a lot, so stick around. They couldn't. Did they have problems bringing Mills back? Do you think they wanted to bring Mills back? Or were they just ready to kind of start over?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna guess that the $9 million up front for Jalen Mills, it was going to beat anything that the Eagles could pay out this year. Sure, the Eagles could give him $9 million this year and spread that over, from bookkeeping purposes over 2 or 3 years, right? And just make it like a $1 or $2 million cap hit this year. But I think they've got some bigger fish to fry as far as, backup quarterback and extensions for guys like Goddard, perhaps, and Mailata and Josh Sweat. So in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's a player that they were going to commit even that much money to and then try to make it work from a bookkeeping standpoint when they've got other positions that they need to address of greater priority for them.
Yeah, I know the Eagles are going to have some issues at safety. I mean, you don't know what's going on with McLeod. Now you lose Mills. Ford, I don't think, was in play there, but that's an underrated thing about what they need to do. And it's not talked about in the draft because there's not really a guy to take in the first round. There's not a safety you're going to take at number 6. So they're going to have to figure out how they're going to fill that safety position. You mentioned some of the guys they do have here, but if you're starting Kevon Wallace and some of these other guys, that's going to be an ugly looking secondary.
Yeah, Marcus Epps is a guy that had a really nice training camp last year, and they tried to get him on the field more last year in 3 safety situations, and they did get him on the field more. and mixed results. I mean, there aren't a whole lot of players from last year, Mike, that we can say exceeded expectations or played well in the positions that they were given. Outside of Alex Singleton and maybe Miles Sanders, you have a tough time finding anybody who played well last year. However, I do think that he's a young kid that they can develop. But I was laughing, as you probably saw, while you were talking about safety, because as you know, just from me working alongside you, and Adam knows from doing the podcast with me, there's probably not a position that I have screamed at. Like, I don't really scream on the podcast much, but occasionally there are some things that get me to drop a few F-bombs, right?
Whoa.
Their ignorance at that position high in the draft has just been astonishing for the last few years. I mean, they have not drafted a safety in the first 3 rounds, if I'm not mistaken, since Jaquan Jarrett, when he went second round in 2011 or 12. And that was a god-awful pick, to be honest with you. They just have let so many potentially good players pass them, and including last year with Jeremy Chin, that it's just mind-boggling to me, because that position, like, I understand that linebacker does not have a lot of positional value for them, and I understand why. But if anybody who's seen the game change over the last 5 or 6 years know that these multidimensional safeties, like Earl Thomas, for example, what he was for Seattle, and Jamal Adams and what he's done for the Jets in Seattle, and other, safeties, Tyrann Mathieu, they're a big key to the game now. And the Eagles have just, for whatever reason, decided that they're not taking a safety in the first 3 rounds for a long time, too long.
It felt like for a while that if you didn't have a safety, Troy Polamalu, like when that team was winning, and you mentioned Earl Thomas, like you had to have a safety, and the Eagles have kind of bypassed it. All right, couple other things to get to. Brandon Graham, what do we know about what his contract might look like?
Well, I get what I've seen is that they're going to add another year onto that contract, which is kind of what they've been doing. It's weird on who they've decided to just give a straight restructure to and who they've given an extension to. For example, Isaac Seumalo, as Adam Kaplan reported, got just a simple restructure in that I don't think any years were added. Now, here's a young guy who actually has played fairly well, who you can probably envision being on the team for 3 or 4 years more, even though I think there's only 2 years left on his deal. So you could understand if they wanted to add an extra year or two, that doesn't have to be a dummy year. He could be on the team making the money that's on the cap. But instead, and maybe it's to save more money. Who only Howie Roseman knows, some of the older guys have gotten dummy years added so they can spread out some of that money. But it's very clear Brandon Graham will be on the Eagles' books for a couple of years, and he'll probably, I imagine, retire as an Eagle. I don't think he's going to see the end of this contract, which would probably go to 2024 or 25. But, if he does, God bless him.
Yeah, this is an extension for Graham, not a restructuring. This looks like it's going to be a extension for Graham, which his contract was set to expire after this season. He would have been a free agent in 2022. It now looks like he will no longer be a free agent in 2022. We'll try to get the confirmation on that. Brandon Brooks got a restructure over the weekend. You mentioned Seumalo. So with Brooks's restructuring, is that a sign that they plan on keeping him?
Oh, I would think so. Yeah. I mean, I would think at that point, because again, you've moved money in them. Now, I guess it doesn't make him untradeable, but then if you traded him, all that money that you've guaranteed, that you've taken that was not guaranteed and made it guaranteed, accelerates into this year. So I don't know. I mean, sure, if you got a great pick, you would do it, accelerate the money into this year, and just you'd have to make sure you're continuously under the cap to absorb whatever you're taking. But it's a lot. I just don't see it happening. I think he's going to be on the team.
I agree with that. Hargrave also got a restructuring. You guys on Inside the Birds today, I believe it was Adam that mentioned the kicker Jake Elliott also is getting a restructuring.
Yeah, so the funny part was trying to figure out any Eagle that was not on a rookie deal that didn't get restructured, right? Now, there's more guys who got restructured that didn't get restructured, right? I mean, right now, I think Lane Johnson did not get one. Yes. Alex Singleton did not get one. And Fletcher Cox so far has not gotten one. Everybody else, I think, has gotten one, or else they're on a rookie deal.
So let's look at that. So they're about 17 and change still over. Is that math jive with you?
You know what? I always say, like, what you see reported is not what the team has. And some of these restructures today or that are in today have to be approved. And if they're approved by the NFLPA, the number can change instantaneously. So I really couldn't. I don't think anybody can really honestly tell you.
Okay. So let's say they're in that 17 to 20, 15 to 20, somewhere in that range. They have the rest of the day, Tuesday, and by 4 o'clock Wednesday. The Zach Ertz situation. I mean, he's frustrated. They want third and fourth. We've talked about, we don't see that happening. I mean, the stare down comes to, are we willing to take a fifth or a sixth or just flat out cut him, right? Is that what that comes down to?
Well, Adam addressed it really well today on the podcast. There's a market for him, so he's probably not going to get cut. I had heard a while back that Howie was looking for a 3 for Ertz. And so knowing the situation that he's in, there's a market, but a lot of teams also know that Howie's got to unload him. So maybe it's more realistic that he gets a 4. Maybe he gets a conditional 4. Now, if you're going to take a conditional pick, that means the pick would be next year, not this year. If I was Howie, I would try to look for that to see if I can get a 4 that turns into a 3 if Zach Ertz still is highly productive, which I still think he can be depending on what team he's on. And I don't mind pushing that pick to next year because I got 10 picks this year. I'm pretty good. I've got 2 third-rounders, even though I don't have a 4th-rounder. I would still try to get that, and then maybe next year get the potential of having an extra first because of the Wentz trade, and then maybe getting a 3rd from the conditional Ertz trade. That's how I would look at it. But
Right.
Remember, Mike, that a trade can't be consummated officially until the league year begins, and the Eagles have to be at the cap already before that. So if the Eagles right now agreed to trade Zach Ertz to whoever, it doesn't really help that money that they're over the cap right now.
All right, so that's $8.25 million that can't help them one way or the other until after 4 o'clock on Wednesday, which means they still have to strategically figure out a way to cut, I don't know, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20 million bucks. Where are they getting it? Where are they strategically finding this?
I thought that number was more prior to the Brandon Graham restructure. So and maybe even before the Jake Elliott one got officialized. So I don't know, but you look, we know that they're going. Here's what's important. We know they're going to be at the cap by Wednesday.
My question is, do we envision to get
Any
there,
more moves?
they're going to have to do something drastic, like cut someone that they don't want to cut?
I don't think so. I really don't think so. We'll see what happens with Derek Barnett. I mean, Adam Kaplan reported that they're content to have him playing at the $10 million 5th option this year, which tells me that they know they're going to be compliant, of course, because they have to be without any more major moves, and B, once it's the new league year and they trade Ertz, right, or get rid of Ertz, and that clears $8 more million, then they can maybe kind of talk about what backup quarter. But like, they don't need this to be $20 million under the cap right now or by Wednesday because they're racing to get some really expensive free agent. They're obviously going to be selective and they're going to be limited, so they can. I would assume the market's going to go on for a couple of days before you see the Eagles make any kind of bigger move.
All right, what are we hearing about Jacoby Brissett? That one's interesting to me. Inside the Birds, you guys talked about it today. Adam said he's hearing from multiple people about Brissett, which I like Brissett. The dots obviously connect them, but it kind of sounds counterintuitive to the Mortensen report that they would want to bring a quarterback in to compete. If I'm Brissett, I think, hey, I want to compete with Hurts. I don't want to just come here to be his backup.
Yeah, see, this is so Adam and I have talked about this, and it's kind of confusing because I think everybody agrees that the Eagles need a veteran backup quarterback because right now the only quarterback under contract is Jalen Hurts. So you're going to need 2 quarterbacks, probably a developmental one and then a veteran one. So I don't know too many veteran quarterbacks that you can bring in that don't have some kind of resume. Joe Flacco's won a Super Bowl. Tyrod Taylor has been a Pro Bowl quarterback, a playoff quarterback, and Jacoby Brissett has had a level of success in this league. So I don't see how you
made
could
$15 million last year.
I know the biggest thing to me is if you wind up spending 10 to 12 million or more on a backup quarterback this year, doesn't that go against everything you said you wanted to be last year when you drafted Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round? So, yeah. I don't know. Obviously it's a very weird year, and the cap being low means that guys like Jacoby Brissett, Mike, may not be able to get the same kind of money that they got last year. We'll see. There are a decent number of veteran backups out there, so that may also hurt as far as backups looking to get top dollar. I mentioned Tyrod Taylor. I mentioned Flacco. There's going to be like 3 or 4 other guys. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Andy Dalton are out there. So the Eagles should be able to come away with somebody. But no matter who it is, as I said on the podcast, if the Eagles are 2-6 after 8 games, hypothetically, you know how it is. Like, you're going to start looking at that veteran backup maybe as a life preserver. That's just how it is.
Yeah, and that's why if you know, with the cap situation, which apparently, you know, they're going to be fine in that spot, which I don't know. I never go into these things all that concerned about the cap because, I mean, if there's one thing about Roseman, I know he's going to figure out a way to get you out of the cap problems, and it appears that they're going to get to that spot. And then the next step, can they add players? To say that I can add a veteran quarterback of that kind of, you know, salary seems to be counterintuitive, like you said, to what this team needs to do. So I don't know. I mean, unless Brissett figures, hey, I'll take less money with a better chance to play because I know the system.
We'll see. I mean, again, it all is probably going to come down to, for him, money. I don't know that there's a couple that are going to be teams looking to sign Jacoby Brissett to start or compete to start, like really get a true competition to start, but maybe there is, and that might be a more ideal offer. And then you're on to plan B and plan C, and that's okay probably because you're looking at Jalen Hurts as your starter anyway. But I do think Brissett and Tyrod Taylor make the most sense because of their familiarity with the offense and the scheme.
All right, Jeff Mosher, Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. If you listened to the podcast this morning, you got the Jake Elliott news. You heard the Brissett stuff in there. And, you know, one of the, I guess, Wednesday, typically any free agent that's available, there's been a lot of cap casualties, have always been connected to the Eagles for one reason. Roseman always does his due diligence and makes these calls. Do you anticipate that we will hear them involved in some of these calls?
Well, they've got to be. I mean, you look at cornerback situation. And by the way, with losing Jalen Mills, I had this thought today that I'll share with you first. I haven't even talked to Adam about it. I wonder the fact that we don't know much about the new defensive staff speaks volumes, right? So we just have to kind of wonder things. You know, when he was a rookie, Avonte Maddox had to move to safety for like 5 or 6 games because they had so many injuries, and he played really well there. And now that they're, you know, young at safety, and Maddox is not someone who projects as an outside corner, and it's easier to find a nickel. In fact, you could bring back, I say, Cre'Von LeBlanc or Roby Coleman if you wanted to at a cheap price. Maybe moving Maddox back to safety wouldn't be such a bad idea right now. I have no idea. But the bottom line is they don't have another outside corner. And so you've got to be at least in the market and making calls and seeing what guys like Xavier Rhodes, who played for the both the Vikings and the Colts, which is where Gannon comes from, both those teams. Mackenzie Alexander is a cornerback who played for the Vikings. Malik Hooker is a safety who played for the Colts. I mean, you got to look at some of these guys who either had injury history or aging and see if you can't get a bargain out of it.
Yeah, definitely. And he, you know, we have that tendency to try to connect the dots. You know, hey, you were in Indianapolis. These guys know you from Indianapolis. You mentioned Hooker, a guy who has had some injury problems but was a first-round pick. Those guys tend to follow the guy with them because they feel comfortable to say, all right, I was hurt. I'm not going to get the money, but I can play well because I don't need to learn a whole new system.
Right.
So you might be able to find some guys under the radar like that because we just talked about it. You lose Mills and Ford, you need a safety in a bad. And somebody texted in earlier about corner. Without Mills, you have no other outside corner currently on the roster, so you're going to need to go down that road as well. There's a lot happening, so keep it locked. Sports Bash Football at 4. We'll have plenty more all this week as free agency opens on Wednesday. And Jeff Mosher and the crew over at Inside the Birds, check out the latest podcast this morning. They have a little free agent preview in there, the stuff on Elliott, the stuff on Brissett. But these backup quarterbacks, that's another interesting spot. I'm surprised that they might spend a decent amount of money on that position. That is one surprising thing to me. If they have money to spend and they spend it at that position, would be an interesting thing, because that almost goes against like saying to bring someone in to compete with him. Like, if I'm going to pay a guy, I want him to compete, right?
Yeah, but I mean, even like, okay, so like Tyrod Taylor signed with the Chargers last year. He had to know that they were picking in the top 10 and were probably going to pick a quarterback, which they did in Justin Herbert. And I'm sure he had to know that even as he started the year, that there was going to be some time during the year that the kid was going to play. Now, the injury that happened with the punctured lung or whatever it was really unfortunate. But I'm sure Tyrod Taylor knew at some point, like, that's the life of being a veteran backup. They're always looking for the young kid to replace you. So when Jeffrey Lurie says, let's build around Jalen Hurts, I don't think that necessarily means you can't bring in a veteran backup who's got some kind of credentials to him, because it's still going to be the Jalen Hurts show until he gets hurt or he just proves that he can't do the job very well.
All right, we'll have football at 4 back tomorrow. We'll keep it locked for all of the free agent news for the rest of the day. Two birds out, Mills and Ford. For more, go to 97.3 ESPN.com. And a new Inside the Birds drops on Thursday, and they got a whole bunch of new lineup. Check out Inside the Birds for a entire lineup of great material on this Eagles offseason. Q&A tomorrow. You're going to have Cosell for the draft, so it's going to be a lot of good stuff. All right, man. We will catch up to you on Wednesday.
All right, my friend. Take care.
All right, he's Jeff Mosher. That's Football at 4 here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, the free mobile app. There you go. Man, the news continues to happen. It's fast and furious. Wednesday is when they officially sign, but the Eagles have lost 2 players. According to reports, Jalen Mills is out. He is going to New England. It's brought to you by Dr. Lyle I'm Back. For everything from skincare to cosmetic surgery, go to ilovelylback.com or call 856-MAKEOVER for Dr. Lyle I'm Back, proud sponsor of Football at 4. And this 4 o'clock hour of the show is being brought to you by PropSwap, America's sports betting marketplace. Sell your sports bets, take your profit, find out how at PropSwap.com. Download the PropSwap app today. All right, when we come back, I want to get into some of this free agency stuff and the NCAA draft and the Phillies, who have a lot of battles happening in Clearwater, Florida. Bob Wankel, our guy from Crossing Broad, will join me coming up in about 18 minutes.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tonight on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates calling all the play-by-play action.
Oh, big save by Carter Hart.
The Flyers are in New York to face the Rangers. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey on the radio home of the Flyers in South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN and listen live on the free mobile app.
Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning makes it easy to upgrade to the most energy-efficient equipment. And for a limited time, Broadlee's is giving you a free furnace with the purchase of a high-efficiency AC system. 0% financing and rebates from the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities. And its clean energy program mean even greater savings. Don't miss out on Broadlee's free furnace frenzy. Certain restrictions apply. Call Broadlee's at 609-390-3907 or visit broadleys.net. Your trusted source for 3 generations.
Hey, James, that order just doubled. We got to move fast here.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business thin.
Somebody pick up that phone.
Like at Luca's Gourmet Frozen Pizza Company. To operate at scale, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
These days, it's okay to do some things halfway, like wearing your pajama bottoms on a work call. But managing your prescriptions shouldn't be one of them. That's why CVS has a proprietary search tool to find ways that may help lower your prescription costs, and will deliver them for free. No wonder CVS customers are better than most at staying on prescriptions, which tends to make you healthier. Come in or call today and get a free prescription savings review at CVS. Savings vary. Not all patients eligible for savings. Delivery restrictions apply. Visit cvs.com for details.
Dell's semi-annual sale is the perfect time to power up productivity and gaming victories. Now you can save what Dell employees save on high-performance tech. Save 17% on the latest XPS and Alienware computers with Intel Core processors. Plus, check out exclusive savings on Dell monitors, headsets, and accessories for greater immersion in all you do. Upgrade today by calling 800-BY-DELL. Again, that's 800-BY-DELL, or you can visit Dell.com/semi-annual sale.
If you own a small business, you know how hard it can be to find new customers. Town Square has new tools that can help your business stand out and grow. Go to getlocalcustomersnow.com for a free competitive analysis that will show you what other businesses are doing to find new customers and how you can do it too with Town Square. Be one of the first businesses to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising on this station. Start growing your business today. Visit getlocalcustomersnow.com. That's getlocalcustomersnow.com.
Today, pros have to do whatever it takes. The Home Depot is here to make that easier. We've got the products you know and trust on our app, delivery options to get what you need exactly where you need it, and a delivery tracker that keeps you up to date on the status of your order, so you can keep doing what you do best, whatever it takes to get the job done. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Making popcorn for movie night?
Whoa, who are you?
This is your wake-up call from TracFone Wireless. What if every time you tried a new streaming service, you had to buy a new TV?
That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, some wireless companies do that when you switch, make you buy a new phone.
Right.
But TracFone Wireless lets you keep your phone and your number and your network, and gives you unlimited talk and text starting at $20 a month.
Seriously, who are you?
This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. Oh, you're burning it.
Oh, no.
See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
What can help you take advantage of today's low mortgage rates and save money? Rocket can. You could save hundreds of dollars every month by refinancing with Rocket Mortgage at today's near historic low rates. If your current rate is over 4%, with today's low rates, you could lower your payment by over $150 a month, saving thousands in interest every year. With a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, you could consolidate and pay off high-interest debt, tackle home improvements that could add value to your home, or even set aside cash for your child's future education. We've already helped over 1 million clients just like you reach their home financing goals this year alone. So remember this: what can give you the technology to refinance easily and save money? Rocket can. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com. That's 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Savings are based on quick loans, internal data. Points and fees may apply. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing letter. License in all 50 states. NMLS Consumer Access Order number 330.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
427, Bob Wankel, Crossing Broad, covers the Phillies. In 13 minutes from now, he'll join us here on the Sports Bash. Phillies, about halfway through spring training, got a lot of interesting battles. Starting pitching, bullpen, and, of course, that center field battle. We'll have the details coming up with Bob at 4:40 today right here on the Sports Bash Live 97.3. This hour brought to you by Prop Swap. Let me tell you, this is a perfect time. If you've been hearing me tell you about Prop Swap, Prop Swap just sold a ticket this morning where the buyer, this is amazing. This is why Prop Swap is great. The buyer got $15,000. You know why? Because he got in on Michigan. Okay, Michigan at 125-1. Well, now what are they, 4-1? They're one of the favorites to win this thing. Doesn't have to win one game in this tournament, and he got $15,000. He sold the ticket at Prop Swap this morning. We've been telling you about the Loyola Chicago ticket. Yep, that one got prop swapped as well. The ticket cost $60 to win $90,000. Well, now Loyola Chicago is 40-1. That guy bought the ticket at 180-1. He sold it on Prop Swap. He bought it for $60. He sold it for $500. And now that ticket's somebody else's. That guy already has $500 in his pocket. It's the power of Prop Swap. Go to PropSwap.com or download the app today. Speaking of Prop Swap, we will be live on Thursday. We will be at the brand new Bally's FanDuel Sportsbook for the NCAA tournament. The kickoff show, Jeff Nadeau and I will be live, so stop by out and see us there. And we will go through the brackets, the betting, how to make some money, all that good stuff. That's on Thursday. Sports Bash Live on location this Thursday from the Bally's FanDuel Room Sportsbook to get you ready for the NCAA tournament. And then Friday, we'll have the tournament. Saturday, we'll have the tournament. Sunday, we'll have the tournament. Monday, we'll have the tournament. You know, every year you can count on the Sports Bash to step aside for a couple of days and have the NCAA tournament. By the way, Joe Thuney has signed with the Chiefs, which is interesting considering they just let their 2 tackles go. They just let the 2 tackles go and gave him a 5-year, $80 million deal that gets $32 million guarantee. It'd be nice. Now, Patrick Mahomes responds to Adam Schefter with a bunch of big smiley face. Be pretty nice if Joe was playing next to, you know, the 2 starting tackles that they just let go. Right. I'm sure they'll figure something out. You know, that's what these teams do. They get into cap problems, then they figure things out. They figure out ways to get around it. And you know what? Sometimes they got guys on the team, they look at it and they say, we don't want to keep paying this guy. By the way, Ram safety John Johnson signing with the Browns. So any Eagles fan who had any ideas of grandeur that the Eagles would find a way to bring in John Johnson, he signed with the Browns already. So he's out of here. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Frank is listening to the Sports Bash. Actually, he's watching the Sports Bash live on YouTube. He says they were $17 million before Brooks, Elliott, and Graham. I'm imagining the salary cap you're talking about, Frank. He goes on to say they will be under the cap, and they told Lane Johnson they don't need him to restructure, so they are perfectly fine. No one big is getting cut or traded to get under the cap. Now, I was looking at overthecap.com, and it still lists the Eagles as 17.9 over the cap. No, I don't know when this was updated. So it says they're over $17.9 million, but I don't know how these restructures if they've been updated. I don't know when this website was updated. I mean, they usually do a pretty good job. There's another website. There's overthecap.com. What's the other one? Spot Rack that does salary cap stuff. And Over the Cap has the Eagles at $17.9 million over the cap. Now, let me go to Spot Rack and see if they have anything up to date here on Philadelphia. Let's see. Philadelphia right now, this is Fletcher Cox. Let's see the Eagles as a team here. I got to see if I can figure out Philadelphia. These websites are a little confusing sometimes. Josh says, yeah, they are. This is dead. These websites can be a little tricky sometimes. Let me see what they have for Philly here. This is a Spot Rack. Who comes up with this website, by the way? All right. They have currently, it says estimated cap space. They are, what, 8 million over the cap? Is that how you're reading? Are you looking at the same thing I'm looking at by chance?
Yeah, 8 million.
They are $8 million, $8.5 million over. So this one's more updated. So, yeah, because Brandon Graham, it looks like they have already put a new deal in for him, it looks like. I'm trying to find a guy that I know that they've worked on already. Javon Hargrave, Brooks is in there. So, yeah, this seems to be right. It looks like the Eagles are about 8.5 over the cap. And they have a couple things that they could still do that get them into that spot right now. So, as the text message kind of indicates, they should be good to go. All right, Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. Thanks, Frank. Frank's like a very good salary cap wizard. I'll give him that. He's always kind of messaging on the video chat with like salary cap related stuff. So Frank is he should be like the official capologist of the Sports Bash. Sports Bash is live on 97.3 ESPN. And coming up, we're going to check in on all the battles in Clearwater because there's a lot of them that we need to get into. Bob Wankel, Crossing Broad. Bob's going to join me Mondays and Fridays throughout the baseball season this year. So if you like Bob and I's conversations on baseball, we go at it. We'll go back and forth. We get a little feisty sometimes. You'll enjoy this baseball season because Bob and I, every Mondays and Fridays, 4:40, he will join me on the show. Jeff Nadeau tonight at 5:20. We will go through the brackets. All right, so stick around for that. All you NCAA fans that need a little information, need a little tidbit, Jeff Nadeau tonight. And don't forget, sign up now for the $1 Million Bracket Challenge at 973ESPN.com. The bracket is now live. And the bracket with the most correct will win $500 Golden Getaway in Atlantic City, thanks to our friends at GoldenNuggetSports.com. The top 20 brackets get a free bet at GoldenNuggetSports.com. You must be 21 or older to play and place a bet. Only available in New Jersey. Free bets are for online sportsbook only. Go to the website for terms and conditions. So, yeah, the $1 Million Bracket, it is live at our website, 973ESPN.com. All right, when we come back, Bob and I will talk a little baseball, a little Phils down there in Florida as spring training continues with a lot of storylines. We got them coming up next here on the Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app.
Turn it on. Leave it on. The Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Atlantic Sleep Health in Galloway. It's National Sleep Awareness Week, and Atlantic Sleep wants you to know that better sleep means better health. Online at AtlanticSleepHealth.com.
Looking to upgrade? Get to Boardwalk Honda. Take advantage of fresh savings during the Honda Dream Garage Spring Event. Right now, lease a new 2021 HRV LX all-wheel drive for just $89 a month for 36 months. Or lease a new 2021 Civic Sedan LX front-wheel drive for $119 a month for 36 months. Plus, browse our entire selection of pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas. We have it all from store to shore. We're sure to have the vehicle you want at the price you want. Accord, Civic, CRVs, you name it, we have it. Plus, we work with all credit situations. Boardwalk Honda partners with over 25 top financial lenders, so we'll help you get approved and on the road in your new Honda in no time. Visit Boardwalk Honda today, located in Egg Harbor Township, or shop online at boardwalkhonda.com. And remember, from Maine to Miami, nobody beats a Boardwalk deal. Call us toll-free at 844-890-3390 for more details.
Boardwalk Honda. What's in store right now at your local Staples?
Your one-stop shop for shipping solutions.
Staples has everything your business needs to ship, like packing materials, mailers, and UPS shipping services.
And now, get 20% off UPS Express shipping services at Staples. Plus, buy two, get one free on decorative shipping supplies.
Staples can even help you customize your shipping materials to create a memorable unboxing experience for customers.
Staples, your total shipping solution.
In-store only. Ends 4/3/21. Exclusions apply. While supplies last.
When you place a wager with William Hill Sportsbook, every sports moment becomes even more interesting. And we have a special offer to help you bet on all your favorite sports, risk-free. Download the William Hill mobile app, and when you sign up, you can get started with a risk-free bet of up to $500. Use promo code RADIORF. Must be present in New Jersey. 21 plus only. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit 800gambler.org. Let's make it interesting. William Hill Sportsbook.
Well, I started my own restaurant because I love to cook, but that also means a lot of greasy pots and pans. And we can't waste time with endless sink changeovers. So we upgraded to Dawn Professional Pot and Pan.
Dawn Professional cleans 58% more pots and pans per sink than the leading competitor.
Less dish soap, fewer changeovers, and more time doing what we love.
Dawn Professional. It's clean. Upgraded. From P&G Professional.
Everyone loves shopping online. Well, I'm going to tell you what I tell my golf buddies when they buy clubs. Stop searching for coupon codes. Download Capital One Shopping to your computer. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. Plus, it's free, and you don't even need a Capital One card to use it. That's like hitting a hole in one without even trying. Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
Savings and available coupons vary.
Making popcorn for movie night?
Whoa, who are you?
This is your wake-up call from TracFone Wireless. What if every time you tried a new streaming service, you had to buy a new TV?
That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, some wireless companies do that when you switch. Make you buy a new phone.
Right.
But TracFone Wireless lets you keep your phone and your number and your network and gives you unlimited talk and text starting at $20 a month.
Seriously, who are you?
This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. Oh, you're burning it.
Oh, no.
See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
Indeed knows unexpected demand can stretch your business thin.
Leon speaking.
Like at Leon's Plumbing.
Sorry, quickest we can get there is next Friday.
To stay out of hot water, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
You can watch the Sports Bash live now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Search 97.3 ESPN or visit our website, 973ESPN.com.
Hey, don't forget March Madness starts on Friday, and you can hear all the action right here on 97.3 ESPN. Starts at noon. Thursday, I will be live at the new Bally's FanDuel Sportsbook to get you ready. We'll go through all the betting lines and everything. Jeff Nadeau will join me live on location for the show. He'll join me tonight at 5:20 to go through the brackets tonight. But right now, we're talking baseball. Phillies got great storylines. It's a shame that I can't be down there because I would love to be there watching this all unfold. Somebody texted in today, Bob, wondering why I wasn't in Clearwater. Normally, this is the week I would be down there. I'd be getting ready to go. But for the second straight year, I will not be there for Philly spring training. But as we've kind of chronicled a little bit, and we will do throughout the baseball season, people are telling me, I love listening to you and Bob talk baseball. So we're going to do it on Mondays and Fridays. There's some interesting things going on down there, and the weekend made them even more interesting.
Yeah, you know what? Tell you what, man, we can't do a segment without talking about Odubel Herrera, talking about center field. You know, I said it before, and I'll say it again. The storyline on day one is the storyline today. It's all about center field. They got some pitching things they got to figure out. They got some bullpen things they got to figure out, but all eyes are squarely on center field. Right now.
But you didn't think this was going to be a story. Like, you didn't think Herrera was really going to be in the mix. I mean, he's got to be in the mix now, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, to defend myself a little bit, I just kind
of not ripping you.
You know, I mean, I thought from a PR standpoint, it was something that the Phillies weren't genuinely going to press. But I mean, listen, all you have to do is check the lineup every day, and he's in there a lot, and he's getting a ton of at bats, and they're giving him a real chance to win the job. And
he's not hitting ninth.
To be honest with you, I mean, he has been the most productive guy that they've had out there, with the exception of Mickey Moniak, and we can talk about him in a minute. But if it's going to be between Scott Kingery and Odubel Herrera and Roman Quinn, I've said it the last couple of times we've been on, you know, talking with one another, he has the most upside. I mean, he just has the most upside. And if the Phillies are willing to roll the dice with the, you know, blowback they're going to get from some fans, then I think that's the way they're going to go at this point.
Yeah, there's no question that you mentioned it. Other than Moniak, Matt Joyce, I don't think is in the center field mix. He's had a good spring too. Defensively, he's not a center fielder, but of the center field options, Herrera's been the best. But what I find the most interesting is that they're using him not in center specifically. They're using him in right. I don't know if he's played any left yet, but it seems that they're at least trying to find out if he can handle, because people forget Odubel was a second baseman who they moved to center, and he's not the best center fielder, let's be honest. So now that they're trying to see if he can play the other positions, almost told me anyway, we want to see if he has versatility that he can play more than just center field. But he might just be the center fielder by default if he keeps going this way. Kingery's really struggling. That is alerting to me because I was hopeful that he would turn this season around and be a factor.
Yeah, I actually asked Joe Girardi about Scott Kingery over the weekend and Roman Quinn, and both of them have had issues making contact consistently. That's their biggest.
He gave you a great answer.
He did. I was happy with that answer. You know, he went into his own little personal anecdote about when he was a player, you know, trying to do too much, trying to fill someone else's shoes, trying to be somebody that you're not. And that's what he thinks is the main problem for both Roman Quinn and Scott Kingery. But at the same time, while that may be true, you have to produce. You know, I don't care if you're trying to be Mickey Mantle. I don't care if you're trying to just be the 8-hitter on the 2021 Phillies. At some point, you got to put the ball in play consistently. And when I look at Scott Kingery's swing, he can't catch up to the fastball right now. His pitch recognition is lacking. He's a mess, and he was a mess last season. And so eventually it's got to click, and he's running out of time to the point where I wonder, unless Brad Miller, you know, if Brad Miller's okay and he tweaked a rib cage yesterday. If he's all right, I kind of am getting to the point where I wonder if Scott Kingery is on the opening day roster, which even with a bad spring training 2 or 3 weeks ago, I would have said he's going to be in Philadelphia on opening day, but he's been bad enough to the point where I think you really have to question it now.
Yeah, that's the first time I've heard something to that extreme. And of course, there's no salary cap. We've been talking about the Eagles all day with the salary cap situation. There is no salary cap ramification, but Kingery makes a decent amount of money to just flat out cut him like that.
Yeah, I mean, he also makes a decent amount of money to hit 110 in spring training and strike out in about 40% of his at-bats too. You know, they're in a position, man, where, Mike, I got to tell you, they want to win. They've made moves this offseason where they are trying to win. They know they play in an ultra competitive division, and they have to do everything within their power to field the best roster. And I think that it's at least worth questioning right now if Scott Kingery is one of the 26 best guys that they have to field at the major league level. I know he's versatile, but if you don't produce, you can be versatile and play all over the field, but you got to hit.
Yeah, Michael Martinez was versatile too. He played left today, by the way. Herrera played center, and Quinn, I think, played right, if my memory serves, when I saw the lineup. So they're trying those guys all over the place to see who's versatile, who could play multiple spots. So that's what's really happening there. I do, before we get to pitching, want to get a quick thought from you on where Hoskins is.
Well, one of the things I wanted to talk about with you today was we focus on center field and the starting rotation and the bullpen, but you know what I want to see over the next 2 weeks? The guys that they're really counting on get hot, put together some decent swings here. I don't care if the numbers don't show up, but you want to start seeing really good at-bats, good swings. And we saw one of those from Rhys Hoskins today. He went out to dead center field, just an absolute bomb. It was his first home run of the spring. And that's what I want to see, especially with a guy like Rhys Hoskins, who's a little bit of a momentum player. We've seen that over the years with him. I think it's important for Rhys Hoskins, even though he's more of a veteran type player at this point, to kind of finish spring training on a high note and roll that momentum into the start of the season.
Before we switch, I know I said I want to look at the pitching, but Moniak, let's get into him. You mentioned Mickey Mantle. Mickey Moniak, he's not, but he's having a good spring. He certainly looks more mature. That, to me, is the biggest difference.
Yeah, absolutely. He's filled out. I think his pitch recognition's been a lot better. He's put together some really good at-bats, competitive at-bats against left-handed pitching. There are so many different reasons to be optimistic about his development. A guy that, a year ago was kind of an afterthought is all of a sudden put himself in the mix. My thought on Mickey Mantle. My thought on Mickey Moniak, though, at this point really is, don't mess with it. Don't force it. Like, I know a lot of people want to see him out there. They certainly don't want to see Odubel Herrera. They're tired of Quinn and Kingery, and I get that. But his development has been great here recently, coming into the spring training and how good he's been. I just don't think he's ready to assume that everyday role, and I think it's important to get him consistent at bats and let him mature naturally. We're talking about a 22-year-old kid who I think can really give this team something and maybe give it to them this year. But it doesn't have to be on day one.
The fact that his name is in the conversation's a win for him, because Absolutely. I got to be honest, I had written that kid off and was like, he looked shell-shocked up there last year. Like, I have no business being here, and the only reason I'm here is because of where they drafted me. That's what he looked like last year. All right, Bob Wankel, Crossing Broad, at Bob Wankel CB. This bullpen thing is interesting because Chase Anderson pitched well today. Matt Moore pitched well, so they seem to have the leg up. Matt Moore pitched well yesterday, 4 innings, 3 strikeouts. They seem like they would have the leg up in the rotation. So we've kind of hit a little bit, but what happens to the losers? Because that bullpen's getting crowded, man. Hale's pitched well. Alvarado's pitched well. Everybody seems to be pitching well that's in the battle right now. At some point, it's almost like, all right, we got too many arms here. What happens?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that has to get figured out over the next 2 weeks. Joe Girardi had said it, I guess, at the end of last week. He's not so much concerned about the guys that he's bringing with him. He's almost more concerned about the guys that he's going to have to leave behind or that aren't going to make this team, because he's got some really difficult decisions to make. The guys that don't win the rotation jobs, we'll see what they want to do with Spencer Howard. It just really depends how aggressive they want to be with him. We've talked about this before. I think personally that he's one of the 8 best bullpen arms. I think he should start the season at the major league level in the bullpen. Would they
go to a 6-man rotation? Some of these pitch
It's not
six.
going to happen.
Okay, good. I hate that. I hate that idea, but I see teams doing it.
Teams are doing it because they're really concerned about the jump from 60 to 162. And that doesn't mean that the Phillies won't use 6, and they might use 6 right away in April, but by design, they want to go in with a 5-man rotation. So, what are they going to do with Spencer Howard? They have to make a decision there. Vince Velasquez, I personally think is a trade candidate. I think it's somebody that they would look to deal if they had an opportunity. He's an expensive insurance policy. My stance on him has not changed there. I just don't think he has a defined role for this team. So that's something that I would certainly look into if I were the Phillies, free up a 40-man roster spot, clear $4 million of room.
They need a 40-man roster spot if they're going to put Herrera on.
Yeah, and I mean, same thing goes with both Tony Watson and Brandon Kinsler as well, and Matt Joyce. So those are 4 40-man roster spots that they would have to clear out. So a Vince Velasquez trade makes a little bit of sense. I think it would be a good restart for him, too, to go to another team, possibly be a number 4, number 5 type starter. They have decisions to make in the bullpen, and I think that's one of the things that we really are going to continue to dial in on over the next couple of weeks here.
Yeah, and I know that, he kind of sounded like a guy who was at the end of the rope. When did he talk? Friday? When was that?
After his last appearance.
Yeah, last appearance. He sounded like a guy who realized, I'm not getting the job done.
Yeah, I think he knows. I mean, and I'm sure that he kind of feels like, hey, I've had 5 different pitching coaches here. I haven't been in the best situation, or maybe I haven't been put in the best situation to succeed. But, I look at Vince Velasquez and I go, this guy's made 99 career starts for the Phillies. He's appeared in 112 games. And, if it hasn't clicked yet, my guess is it's not going to click. And the only other thing I'll say about it, because I know that there's some support about Vince Velasquez being in the bullpen. I've probably said this to you before. I'll say it again. If you can't consistently locate your fastball in innings 1 through 5, tell me how that translates in innings 6 through 9. I don't think it does. I just don't think it works here.
I would agree. Look, I am done with him as a starter. Done. I don't have a problem if they just said from Jump Street, focus on being a guy in the bullpen. You're coming to Clearwater as a reliever. I don't know why they don't give him that message and keep dangling this carrot that you can be a starter. How they haven't figured that out for themselves bothers me.
Yeah, it's one of the things he said last week. I just kind of want to know. And they've always done this to him. They've always said, well, you're a starter, or we're going to move you to the bullpen, but then they end up bringing him back into the rotation. I think it would have been in his best interest to say, here's your defined role, own it, learn it, try to figure it out. And even this spring, I think the writing was on the wall. You go out and you give major league guaranteed contracts to both Matt Moore and Chase Anderson. I told you a month ago that those guys are probably going to be the number 4 and number 5 starters.
They're pitching well enough to be that.
Right. And that's all fine and well. But then why even have Vince Velasquez in this pseudo competition? You can stretch a guy out and you could always walk it back. If Moore or Anderson were disasters in their first 3 or 4 appearances, you say, all right, Vince, things have changed. But I think that he should have gone in there with the mindset, I'm going to be a reliever.
100%. I had my 10 predictions. I think we've gone over a little bit, but one of them was Nola, Wheeler, and Eflin will be the top pitching threesome in the NL East. Is Eflin making you a believer that prediction might come true?
Yeah, if you've read Crossing Broad or followed me on Twitter, you know that I'm in love with Zach Eflin right now, man. Let me tell you something. I get why people are hesitant to buy into a guy like Zach Eflin turning the corner or figuring it out. We saw last year, we were sold like, hey, Nick Pivetta, the spin rate, the arm, the talent. It didn't work out. Vince Velasquez, it hasn't worked out. Zach Eflin's different, though. The guy actually has a feel for how to pitch. He's a guy that's identified weaknesses in his game. He's worked at those weaknesses, and he's improved on them. His curveball went from being one of the worst pitches in baseball in 2019. He goes into the offseason ahead of 2020, works on it, develops an above-average curveball. And, there's something to be said for guys that can prove that they can identify a weakness and work to fix it. And I think this guy has full command of who he is right now, and I think he's poised for a really good year.
Okay, 45 seconds. Bohm, what do you like? Should we feel like this guy, what we saw last year is because I haven't heard anything about him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing. At this point, you just expect good at-bats. He goes the other way when he needs to. He hits the ball with authority. I think that he's hitting the ball with a little bit more consistent thump this spring. Should be excited about it. I don't want to say he's the next Phillies great third baseman or any of that or put any crazy expectations on him, but the guy is a middle-of-the-order hitter right now, and I think he's going to have a very good season.
My 10 predictions. Number 2, Alec Bohm will hit 288, 27 homers, 87 RBI type of season.
I can go for that.
See more power. The average probably comes back, but I agree with you. If you watch him, his approach, He's got a clue up there. Other way, does the right things at the plate. I just hope they hit him in the right spot in the order.
That's right.
All right, Bob Wankel crossing broad. Phillies continuing Clearwater. They lost today to the Yankees 4-2. Chase Anderson pitched well, though, so good sign there. Bob's back on. Actually, we're off Friday, so I'll talk to you, and we'll set it back up. Maybe we'll have him on Wednesday and loop him in to see what's going on down there. All right, Bob, people are enjoying it. Appreciate it, man.
All right, Mike, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, he's Bob Wankel, Phillies Insider, crossingbroad.com. We got some stuff in the works, Bob and I. Maybe do a little craft beer conversation. He's good on the craft beer, too. I had found a new craft beer, by the way. I found a new craft beer that I am all about. All right, Jeff Nadeau in 20 minutes. Whatever you want to talk about, text in right now, and we'll get into that on the other side. 609-403-0973. 609-403-0973. Eagles on the way.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Simmons downhill, comes in, jams his jam, and a foul, a rocket basket by Ben Simmons.
The Sixers host the New York Knicks tomorrow. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
It's the Honda Dream Garage Spring Event at Rossi Honda. What better vehicle to put in your garage than one of the 3 best 2021 SUVs on the market? Lease a Honda HR-V LX for $99 a month or get the Honda CR-V EX for $229 a month. Put the Honda Pilot
Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
All right, 5 o'clock hour here on the Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. Watch the show live on our website, 97.3ESPN.com, the NCAA tournament. We will get into that coming up in about 20 minutes from now. Jeff Nadeau, our betting expert, college basketball savant, if you will join us to take a look at the tournament, the matchups. On Thursday, Jeff and I will be live. We're going to do a full show live from the brand new Bally's FanDuel Sportsbook, live on location. You can come out and see the show. And by the way, the tournament, the first four will begin on Thursday. And then on Friday, we'll have all the games for you right here on 97.3 ESPN. By the way, if you're just joining us, free agency kind of underway for the Eagles. Jalen Mills, he has signed with the New England Patriots. So Green Goblin is now a Blue Goblin or a Red Goblin, depending on what color you see the New England Patriots as. So they need a new safety because Green Goblin is gone. He is a Patriot. So that is the first domino to fall. We think the Eagles, now doing a little bit of research during the show today, I think we got the Eagles down to about $9 million or $8.5 million left to go. They're going to rework the deal for Brandon Graham if they haven't done that already. We're keeping our eyes on that. Also restructuring the deal over the weekend of a couple of other guys to kind of get them to where we thought they would be. There was a lot of people out there. Look, people wonder why. How does Howie Roseman keep his job? This is the reason, because not a lot of GMs are going to get you out of the financial mess that you're in. Now, I do want to talk about this article from Jeff McLean that was written on Sunday, which was this staying power. Howie Roseman's tenure as Eagles general manager has included a Super Bowl title, 3 fired coaches, and his fair share of critics. Through it all, he's kept Jeffrey Lurie's unwavering trust. That is the title of this new article that came out over the weekend over at the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Jeff McLean piece. Really well done, very in-depth. But I definitely think it's worth taking a look at and kind of breaking it down for fairness sake here and seeing where he's right. Now, I'm not even saying where Jeff's wrong or right. He's reporting from what he's hearing. What I said, for instance, I sent this text message to a friend of mine who hates Roseman, and he looked at it as a way to just kind of put further stamp on why he's right and why Roseman is the worst and why, every feeling he has about him is the correct feeling, as opposed to there was a lot of things in that whole article that I thought painted Roseman in a positive light. There were some things that painted him in a negative light. The stuff about Lane Johnson, Johnson was teammates. It says Johnson was with teammates in the NovaCare cafeteria when Roseman walked up and said, according to sources, "I've never seen you get beat by a rookie before." Now, on the surface, if somebody says that, you're like, listen, you snarky little, who are you to say that to me? Here's what I would like to know. Because if it's just Roseman walking up to Johnson saying, "I've never seen you get beat by a rookie before," in some condescending manner, then yeah, he's off base. He's out of line to say that. I don't know what Johnson and Roseman's relationship are. What's the tone that he used? It's like the Seinfeld episode. Why would Jerry bring anything? Did he emphasize Jerry or bring? Which, how did he say this to Lane? Like, I don't want to sit here and break it all down, but look, if he said it in a condescending manner to Lane Johnson, like, "I've never seen you get beat by a rookie before," as opposed to, "I've never seen you get beat by a rookie before." It goes on to say the pair were known to bust each other's chops. So right there, the follow-up to that says to me, Roseman knows his boundaries with Lane Johnson, that he can say that to Lane, and Lane knows, hey, I didn't have my best game. And, I'm getting my chops busted by Roseman. Because in the article it says, But Johnson, who was also dealing with a personal issue at the time, didn't take kindly to the jab. So it sounds like Johnson had something else going on, that Roseman said something that he normally would have said, but he caught Johnson on a bad day. You know, that's like you say something to your buddy and you're like, dude, I've been saying this to you for a while. And then he says it to you, say it to him on a day where he's having a bad day. And you're like, whoa, I've been saying this to you for a while. Now it bothers you. That happens. All right. The article says a month later, the Eagles were in London to face the Jaguars. Johnson had suffered a high ankle sprain 3 games earlier, but continued to forge on. But as the players geared up that Sunday in Wembley Stadium locker room, Johnson voiced concerns about playing. Roseman caught wind and berated him, sources present said. Nearby teammates and coaches couldn't understand why he would provoke him, considering Johnson's current state. The tackle finished suiting up as he walked by Roseman. The GM said, according to sources, quote, "Good, you have your mouthpiece in. Now you can't say anything stupid." The comment, according to a source close to Roseman, said was intended to be playful, but it set Johnson off. Quote, "I can't play for this bleep," he said, according to a source. He took off his equipment and went to the showers and missed the pregame warm-up. Peters went to Peterson's office to help defuse the situation. Defensive end Chris Long, right guard Brandon Brooks, and others talked Johnson into playing. He lasted 7 plays. He further aggravated his ankle and sprained a knee ligament. So again, it goes back to the source said in the article that the let's see, it says, okay, the comment was intended to be playful, and it set Johnson off. This goes back to, well, how did he say it? How was it presented? All of that stuff, right? Hey, good, you have your mouthpiece in. Now you can't say anything stupid. I don't even remember what Johnson would have said leading up to the game. Did he say, like, hey, I'm not playing this week, and that got out? Did he say something in reference to how injured he was and that the Eagles were trying to keep? I don't remember. I remember the game being in London. I remember the game being at like 9 o'clock in the morning. That's about all I remember from that game. I don't know what happened leading up, but I don't read that. Like, people could read that and be like, see, Roseman's a jerk. Why would he say that? The same jerks would be the person who would say the same type of thing. But again, according to the source, Roseman said it in a playful manner, but Johnson kind of was, you know, he's banged up. But you can't cross the line and say this kind of stuff. I get that. Like, if he said it in a jerkful type of manner, then Roseman's completely in the wrong. Like, first off, you don't need to be questioning Lane Johnson's toughness. I think Lane Johnson has showed that he will try to play hurt and do whatever he can. But at the same time, we've heard in the same reporting that they have that type of relationship. So that one, to me, a lot of people looked at that as, see, one of the problems that I have with Roseman is the relationships with people that he's worked with. You know, people have talked about how difficult he is to work with, whether it be Jason Light, Brent Veach, guys who have worked in the Eagles front office before, who say, I just can't work with this guy. You know, there's a lot of guys who are really good at their job or really focused at their job that aren't bad guys that people have a tough time working with, though. And that's one of the things that Jason Kelce brought up during that whole speech, was that he came out a different guy. I think a lot of the reporting about Roseman was before the Chip Kelly was that he was a tough guy to work with and that he came out a changed man. That's what Jason Kelce's words were, not mine. A lot of the reporting in this was that Laurie and Roseman are very tight, very close, that Roseman and his role with the team is very close to Laurie. That is, that he is very, that he has the trust from Laurie, that Laurie knows that no matter what, that Roseman is there for the best interest of Laurie and the football team. But there's so many, like, we could break down this whole article. We could probably do it all week long. It was 6,500 words or something like that. But this is the part, like, if you didn't read the whole story and you just read the parts that you wanted to fit your narrative, you would come out and say, man, this Roseman. But if you read it and really read it and combed through it, let's like this part. Eagles staffers never doubted Roseman's invincibility or Lurie's abiding faith in his 45-year-old GM. Roseman did, after all, help construct the 2017 championship team just 2 years after spending a year in exile. Even Peterson wasn't held to the same standard. Lurie likely took Roseman's entire resume into account. His win-loss record is above average. The Eagles have gone 91, 84, and 1 and reached the postseason in 5 of 11 seasons with Roseman as the GM. A fair accounting would also exclude the 7-9 season in 2015 when former coach Chip Kelly muscled Roseman out of the personnel department. So you look at 2015, that's essentially when Chip Kelly kind of took over the reins. In the 7 years Roseman had his final say on the roster, 2013, 14, 16, 20, the Eagles won 62, lost 49, and tied 1. 56%. They qualified for the playoffs 4 times. They've gone 4-3 in the playoffs, and they won a Super Bowl. If you were a general manager and that was your resume, you would probably get a job with that resume, right? If you were the general manager of the football team, of a football team, and for whatever reason you were out of work, and you handed your resume in, and it was 62-49 with 4 playoff qualifiers and a Super Bowl, you're going to get hired. It goes on to say, Roseman is in some ways an exemplar for modern-day NFL, a non-traditionalist GM who has a multifaceted operation. With unorthodoxy can come resistance, but among the old guard, the ascendancy and standing of the former intern with a law degree has been justified. Quote, I have always had a lot of respect for Howie, says Mike McCartney, formerly the Eagles director of player personnel, who was there when Roseman showed up to work on the salary cap in 2000 and has since, as an agent, negotiated several contracts with him. Quote, he didn't necessarily come up from a true football scouting path, but through the years, he's really worked hard to watch tape and study players and has had a lot of success because of that. Howie has always had a spirit where he wants to learn, and I've always found him to be very honest about players. So again, this is painting a positive picture of a guy who works hard, has a good resume, and that basically has worked his way, as Mike McCartney said, into a successful GM. Now, it goes on to say, still, compared to GMs with longer or equal tenures, all of whom had worked with just 1 or 2 coaches, Roseman's performance pales in terms of numbers. His last 3 off seasons, by almost all measures, have been subpar, and the roster is now arguably at a nadir. Just last month, he traded Carson Wentz 5 years. Now, again, I don't know how that's his fault. He had to trade Wentz. It came to a point where he had to do it. We'll get more into this conversation coming up later. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. But it's just a good little sample of, if you pick out the parts of the article that you want, you can find a lot of negative in there. You certainly can. But all the stuff I got sent by people was the negative stuff. So then when I combed through it, I said, well, you left out these parts. Very convenient. Sports Bash, 97.3 ESPN. I want to tell you about my friends at Draftkings. You know, the NCAA tournament starts on Friday. You can get in on the action at DraftKings.com. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app on your phone. Use my code 973 for all new users. You'll get the promotion for the NCAA tournament. They're running a ton of them right now, as we told you. Find an underdog, bet the underdog. $4 wins you $256. It's March, it's college basketball, it's DraftKings Sportsbook, it's America's top-rated sportsbook. All new players right now, use my code 973. That's 973. Use my code. All right, coming up next, speaking of the NCAA tournament, we're going to go through it. We're going to go through it all. The matchups, the spreads, you name it. Jeff Nadeau, our betting expert, who's going to join me live on Thursday for the whole show on location. We're going to be all over this tournament. So people in our audience are going to know how to bet this tournament and play this tournament better than anybody else in the country. Back with more.
The NCAA tournament is coming to 97.3 ESPN Friday afternoon. Listen to March Madness exclusively on 97.3 ESPN. Catch every buzzer beater, every upset, and every minute of March Madness. Who will cut down the nets this season?
For three, it's good!
Keep it locked to 97.3 ESPN to find out. Listen to the NCAA tournament exclusively on 97.3 ESPN FM, South Jersey's sports leader.
Bigger, better, Boardwalk, Boardwalk Honda. Bigger, better, Boardwalk, Boardwalk Honda. Looking to upgrade? Get to Boardwalk Honda. Take advantage of fresh savings during the Honda Dream Garage Spring Event. Right now, lease a new 2021 HRV LX all-wheel drive for just $89 a month for 36 months. Or lease a new 2021 Civic Sedan LX front-wheel drive for $119 a month for 36 months. Plus, browse our entire selection of pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas. We have it all from store to shore. We're sure to have the vehicle you want at the price you want. Accord, Civic, CRVs, you name it, we have it. Plus, we work with all credit situations. Boardwalk Honda partners with over 25 top financial lenders, so we'll help you get approved and on the road in your new Honda in no time. Visit Boardwalk Honda today, located in Egg Harbor Township, or shop online at boardwalkhonda.com. And remember, from Maine to Miami, nobody beats a Boardwalk deal. Call us toll free at 844-890-3390 for more details. Boardwalk Honda.
Dell's semi-annual sale is the perfect time to power up productivity and gaming victories. Now you can save what Dell employees save on high-performance tech. Save 17% on the latest XPS and Alienware computers with Intel Core processors. Plus, check out exclusive savings on Dell monitors, headsets, and accessories for greater immersion in all you do. Upgrade today by calling 800-BY-DELL. Again, that's 800-BY-DELL, or you can visit Dell.com/semi-annual sale.
Well, I started my own restaurant because I love to cook. But that also means a lot of greasy pots and pans. And we can't waste time with endless sink changeovers. So we upgraded to Dawn Professional Pot and Pan.
Dawn Professional cleans 58% more pots and pans per sink than the leading competitor.
Less dish soap, fewer changeovers, and more time doing what we love.
Dawn Professional. It's clean. Upgraded. From P&G Professional.
Since there was no basketball tournament last March, Unibet is offering twice the sign-up bonus this year. Get $40 free and $500 risk-free. With twice the bonus, go twice as hard. Woo! Watch on 2 screens. Woohoo, yeah! On 2 couches. Both chicks. And place twice the bets. Bonus! Get $40 free and $500 risk-free. Unibet Sportsbook. Crazy about the odds. Must be 21 or over to play and physically located in New Jersey. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents
And Doug.
Breathe out and repeat after me. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Your bird is eating my candles.
Your bird is eating my candles.
No, seriously, he's making a mess.
No, seriously.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Get a customized quote at libertymutual.com.
I had been taking probably 800 milligrams of opioids a day, which is an insane amount.
David is in recovery from an addiction to prescription opioids.
Eventually, my whole life began to unravel. I realized that I needed help. And in recovery, I found my purpose. Addiction is a disease of isolation and loneliness. There is a way out. You don't have to do this alone.
If you or someone you know is struggling, there is hope. Recovery is possible. Visit cdc.gov/RX awareness.
And now more Straight Talk from Straight Talk. The big wireless companies say they're the only way to get the best coverage.
Because they've got like a gajillion cell towers?
Something like that. But Straight Talk Wireless runs on those same towers, so you get the same great networks for up to 50% less.
I wonder if they're counting that one in Kickapoo, Kansas.
Oh boy. Switch today and get our unlimited plan for just $45 a month with 25 gigs at high speeds and no contract. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
Savings may vary. See straighttalk.com.
Get a refresh with your refund during Mako's tax season event for expert paint and collision repair. Use our contactless services. It's as easy as book, quote, fix. Better get Mako. Visit Mako.com today to schedule your free estimate. Terms and conditions apply.
You can watch the Sports Bash live now on Facebook Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Search 97.3 ESPN or visit our website, 973ESPN.com.
All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget the NCAA tournament starts on Friday this year. It's not a Thursday. It's kind of a Thursday, but it's not really a Thursday. I don't know. Those first 4 games don't do much for me. But we got all the games starting Friday here on 97.3 ESPN. We got you covered Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We'll have the NCAA tournament here on 97.3. We're going to break down the brackets, but don't forget, live, we will be out of the studio for the first time in a long, long time. We will be live on location this Thursday at the brand new Bally's FanDuel Sportsbook, and I'm looking forward to it. I will be joined live on location by my man BMOC, Jeff Nadeau. He's going to be breaking down all the betting action, all the games on Thursday, and he is live on the video stream with us now, but we'll be live on location. BMOC, it's good to see you, man.
Hey, Mike, good to see you as well. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you and all the people. I know just a couple people have already reached out to me and said they'll be down there. So, yeah, if you're around, you're in the city or in the South Jersey, Philly area, and you're going to be in the Atlantic City Shore area, come say hello. Bally's on Thursday, 2 to 6, getting you ready for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, we will go through a lot of the betting lines, how to bet the tournament. Of course, those first 4 games start Thursday night, but really the action starts on Thursday. And Jeff and I are just going to kind of comb through the brackets here to kind of give you a little insight on the games themselves, more so than the betting angles. We'll talk about some of the games to bet tomorrow when Jeff's back at 3 o'clock. But, you know, the brackets came out last night, and, you know, I was like, all right, I got to get into these brackets because last year we missed. And then I'm looking through all the spreads, and it was almost overwhelming to see this whole thing. But I want to look at a couple of like the games in the middle here. You got that 8-9 Oklahoma-Missouri game. So let's start there with the West, where Gonzaga is the number 1 seed. But, you know, those good matchups, 8-9 Oklahoma-Missouri. And this one is kind of a very interesting one. Oklahoma started to play pretty well late in the season.
Yeah, you know, this is a game where, you know, whenever you look at a bracket, Mike, you know, a lot of people spend way too much time on games like this. So when you look at this game, it's a complete coin flip. You have both teams. They play very similarly. Both are very slow tempo-wise. They both have good guard play, you know, similar bigs. You know, both have good coaches. And, yeah, at the end of the day, Mike, I don't think you spend a lot of time on this game because ultimately there's tons of other games to bet on. And whoever wins this game has no shot in the next game. So it really doesn't matter. I think 8-9 games this year are interesting because there are a couple that are going to mean a lot. But in the Baylor bracket and in the Gonzaga bracket, I just don't think they're of much importance. I think it's a really tough game. Slight lean, gun to my head, I take Missouri just because
all right.
I think Tillman I like down low. I worry about Oklahoma. They had games where they look really good this season, but the three-point defense is poor. And when you look at Oklahoma, they have some defensive issues, and they had some games where they lost to Kansas State. They had some rough losses.
They also have some good wins. I mean, they beat Kansas, they beat Alabama, they beat West Virginia, they beat Texas. So those are the kind of things that stand out to me.
Yeah, and look, they both have good wins. Both these teams had some, you know, odd losses, and they had some good wins. But they're both teams that I don't think are going to play much a factor in this bracket at the end of the day, unless you have a legitimate feel for it, which I don't necessarily see it. I know all these teams in and out. This is about as big a coin flip as you're going to get. You won't find me watching this game much at all.
All right, 5-12s, people like them. This is where you can make a little difference. Creighton, UC Santa Barbara. These are 2 mid-major type of schools. So, obviously, you don't see that much in a 5-12 game.
Yeah, I think if there's going to be a 5-12 upset, which I'll tell you, all 4 of them, they're not particularly good. This is the only one where I think there is a legit shot that the dog will beat the favorite. When you look at Santa Barbara, a lot of people don't necessarily realize, but this was a really good basketball team. This was a team that, you know, all year spent, you know, most of the season in the top 75 offense, top 75 defense. This is a good team on both sides of the basketball. They're very fundamental. They haven't been to the NCAA tournament under their coach, Joe Pasternak, who's going to be a guy that a lot of teams, a higher end team, is going to look at. he's a guy that's done some really good things there. They take a lot of good shots, Mike. They're very fundamental. They're a big team. I think Creighton is a group that's kind of limping into this tournament. They got destroyed by Georgetown out of nowhere. They just have these games where they're inconsistent. They don't look particularly good. I think at the end of the day, Zagorowski is the best player on the court, and he'll find a way here. But this is a conference that's had no trouble pulling upsets. UC Irvine in 2019, they pulled an upset, I believe, that year against Kansas State. So this is a conference that can pull upsets. I don't think the other 5-12s have any shot, but this is one that I could see.
All right, I want to go to, because I think this one's interesting, see what you think if you agree, and that is the 6 Trojans from USC. They got to face either Wichita or Drake. I like both Drake and Wichita. I like both of those teams, so I find that USC's got a tough spot. They don't know who they're going to play, and then getting matched up against either one of those teams could be a tough one.
Yeah, I think Drake's going to beat Wichita State. I think what Isaac Brown's done at Wichita State is pretty honorable. Obviously, Greg Marshall had stuff off the court. This guy took over responsibility right at the beginning of the year, and here they are in the NCAA tournament. Pretty impressive. That just goes to show you the culture outside of Greg Marshall is strong in Wichita. I think Drake will beat them, though. When you look at Drake, they're going to get Hemphill back, one of their guys that's been injured for a while. He's one guy on Drake they desperately need. He's a guy that off the dribble can take anybody on the court. He can create his own shot. He's integral to a team like Drake. I think they will beat Wichita. I actually am one guy that actually is very high on USC. A lot of people haven't given this team enough credit. I thought you could make the case. They weren't great towards the end of the season. They should have been maybe, I think, a little bit higher, frankly. But I think defensively, they're really good. I mean, they have 2 terrors in the middle, the Mobley twins. Obviously, Evan Mobley is a next-level player. He's a top 10 pick. They're gigantic. Number 2 in the NCAA in height. Only one team is bigger. They're really going to make it difficult, Mike, to get into the lane. If you know anything about – we've talked before, you and I, about Osuni at Bonaventure. These kids, these 7-footers, just wall the paint off, and it's very difficult to get into the lane. I think if Drake can get hot from 3, they have a shot here because USC is not particularly long on the perimeter, and I think that could be a concern here. But I think USC is better than Drake and better than Wichita. I think they will take care of both teams just because Mobley is the difference. That athleticism that they have at USC, they're really tough to score on, particularly. And both these teams, in Drake and Wichita, I think are both going to have to get into the lane, and I don't think they can do that. I would lean USC to get by either of them.
Jeff Nadeau's with me here. We will be live on Thursday at Bally's Atlantic City, the new FanDuel Sportsbook room. You can check us out from 2 to 6. We will go in depth on these games, give you some betting stuff as well today, tomorrow. The odds to win that West region, Gonzaga is a strong favorite. Iowa's 15-4, Kansas 11-1, Virginia 11-1, Creighton 16-1, Oklahoma 18-1, Oregon 18, and then USC 18. And then there's a big drop-off. Is there any value in that West region for you?
You know, widely enough, Mike, no. I don't. I'm generally one to always consider it. I think USC, if there's any team, USC is interesting. But, I mean, you have to realize, Mike, the top 3 seeds in this conference outside of Gonzaga's already beat all 3 of those groups by 10 or more in Virginia, Kansas, and Iowa. Mike, I would be absolutely floored if Gonzaga don't get to the Final Four. I think this is about as easy as a path as you're going to find. It's going to take a monumental effort to beat Gonzaga. This is truly the year if Mark Few cannot win. You have to wonder, will he ever win? And I'm going to tell you right now, Mike, it's not going to get any easier. Gonzaga's about to get the number 1 recruit in the country, Chet Holmgren. So next year, they're going to be right back. But this should be a walk in the park, Mike. It's like, a beautiful day down the shore. It doesn't get any nicer. It doesn't get any better. They are going to breeze to the Final Four, in my opinion.
All right, your favorite in the East, Michigan, Bama, Texas, Florida State, Colorado, UConn, LSU, BYU. The odds in the East are a little bit more favorable with Michigan 11-5. You go down to Maryland at 14-1, and then there's a drop-off after them. St. Bonaventure, you mentioned Osuni, who's from Mainland, played high school basketball at Mainland. If you watch that 8-10 game, he's the defensive player of the year. They're in the 8-9 game, so we'll start with that. LSU, St. Bonaventure.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the most fascinating games of the first round here in both days. You have a team at St. Bonaventure who really got a tough draw here. I mean, I'm a big Bonaventure guy, but I'm also a big LSU guy. They are as good as it gets offensively with Cameron Thomas and Watford and Javonte Smart. They come at you in waves, Mike, and Bonaventure's going to get tested here. I really believe, Mike, this team either team, whether it's Bonaventure or LSU, I think they're a real candidate to get to the Final Four. If they can get past one or two, whoever wins this game, I think can get past Michigan. With Livers out now, I think Michigan is vulnerable. And it presents value, Mike, when you're looking at getting to the Final Four, because Texas, the other team I really like at the bottom, once you get to the Elite Eight and you have an LSU, let's say at 12-1 to get to the Final Four at FanDuel, you can hedge out of that bet and create some free money opportunities for yourself. So it doesn't sound like Livers is going to come back anytime soon. And I'm not saying that Michigan isn't still a good team, but they're a vulnerable team without Isaiah Livers. It makes other players have to step up, and then it cuts into their depth. There are players on the court that I don't exactly want to see on the court. The winner of Bonaventure LSU, I think, is a real opportunity to get past Michigan. And from then on, I think there's some upset possibilities. One of my biggest upset in this tournament is in this bracket. So there could be a lot of haywire in this one.
You gonna leave us hanging with that?
I'm not going to leave you hanging. I believe, Mike, UNC Greensboro is going to upset Florida State. I have a real premonition here. When you look at matchups, obviously I'm particularly strong at finding what teams are going to be poor against other teams and whatnot. Florida State, Mike, has an issue. They do not have a point guard. There's not a set point guard on this team. It's a bunch of guys that are 6'6" or bigger, and they basically bring it up by committee. And that's an issue because they're 241st in the country in turnover percentage. They've had major issues all year getting the ball up the court. If you know anything about Greensboro, Wes Miller, the coach down there, still presses. He presses at a high level. He's going to pressure the hell out of the Seminoles. They have a kid, Isaiah Miller, that's as good a point guard as you'll find. He's tough. He plays a ton of minutes. His usage rate is really high. Think of like Malcolm Brogdon, that kind of player. He's really just in your grill. He has really good fundamentals. He's just a tough guy. I also, Drew Holiday, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Drew Holiday. Just a tough, strong kid. And I think they're going to bother Florida State. I think the true issue of not having a point guard is going to catch them right away. Not having that point guard against a team that presses is a concern for me. Obviously, they could pull away with their athleticism, but I think this could be a real concern for Florida State.
All right, Jeff Nadeau, of course, we will be live on Thursday. We're going to dig deeper into this tournament, just kind of scratching the surface on this Monday now that it's fresh out. Michigan's the favorite in the East. Let's scroll down here to that Midwest where Illinois. Now, this is where my guys, I love West Virginia's bracket here. I like this draw. Illinois is the favorite 5-4, Houston 7-2, West Virginia 13-2. They're the 3 seed. Oklahoma State, Tennessee 9-1, Loyola Chicago 12-1, San Diego State 12-1, Georgia Tech 14-1, and then that's where the drop off is down to Clemson, Rutgers. But I thought this Midwest region, if I'm a 3 seed like West Virginia, I was pretty happy with where they landed.
Yeah, I can't agree with you, Mike. I think this is the toughest bracket in the tournament. I think this is. Outside of Cleveland State, I think every team is really good. Maybe Oregon State as well.
I agree. There's a lot more depth here, but it doesn't have that Gonzaga, Baylor, the clear favorite. It's got a bunch of teams that are all up there.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, Mike, that Mountaineer group better watch out for Morehead State. Morehead State is legit. They're not just some team that you're going to breeze over.
Won't give me another Stephen F. Austin repeat.
You might have it, Mike. Morehead State has NBA players. Johnny Broom is a next level type of player. He will give Culver issues. Culver has not looked particularly good late in the season. He was laughable defensively against Oklahoma State. They sliced and diced him 2 different times. West Virginia is too dependent on the three-point shot, and it continues to be concerning to me. They'll find a way probably here, but Morehead shut down Belmont, Mike. Shut Belmont down. And Belmont is a better offensive team than West Virginia. I hate to tell you. This is a team that was tested. They played Richmond. They played a couple – Kentucky, Morehead played. Now, I know those teams didn't make the NCAA tournament, but they have athletic kids that are going to be at a similar level to West Virginia. and Bob Huggins, I'm sure if you listen to his pregame, he'll tell you the same thing. Moorhead is a good basketball team. They're older, they're experienced, and they have a good young player on the block that'll give them issues. I think I'll continue to say it. Loyola is going to beat Illinois. I'm going to keep saying it. They're going to beat Georgia Tech, and they are going to beat Illinois. I know I'm going to keep saying this till the cows come home. Loyola Chicago is the best defense in the country. They are the best defense in this bracket. They have a big man that has played multiple different bigs throughout his career. Coburn will be a tough matchup, but I'll continue to wonder, can other players for Illinois outside of DeSumo and Coburn beat me? I'll take my chances there. I'll also throw in San Diego State. I took them at 65-1, Mike, to have a shot to win this thing. Very good defensively, good guard play. I always know Dutch are another good defensive team. This part of the bracket is a bear defensively. There's a lot of good defenses here.
Yeah, Loyola, by the way, is the 8-9 against Georgia Tech, who won the ACC, and then Illinois plays Drexel, who's making the tournament for the first time since like the 90s. Illinois was the number 1 seed, and then you've got some interesting matchups there where you mentioned San Diego State. They're playing Syracuse, Clemson, and Rutgers is that 7-10 there. So you like as some good value. Said you mentioned San Diego State 12-1 is the odds right now for them to get the Midwest, to win the Midwest region. And then the last one would be the South, where Baylor is a huge favorite in the South. I mean, Ohio State, Baylor's 110-1. Ohio State's 15-4, Arkansas 9-1, Texas Tech 9-1. So the South there is a ton. It's Baylor and everybody else, according to the betting world out there.
Yeah, I mean, Baylor, with Villanova's issues with Gillespie, obviously the bracket becomes a lot easier for Baylor. I'm going to keep saying this. Don't sleep on Purdue. Purdue's a good basketball team, good defensively. I think they have better guards than people give them credit for. Jaden Ivey has turned into a really good player, the freshman, and Eric Hunter is a defensive machine. He can lock up any player in America. So, Baylor's issue, Mike, is in the front court. They have some problems. If they face Purdue, Williams and Edey are very good. So Baylor better watch themselves if they get Purdue. Texas Tech's obviously here as well. You don't sleep on Archie, and Ohio State obviously down at the bottom. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be a breeze. I'm going to come out and say it. I think Baylor gets tripped up. I think Purdue trips them up. Maybe Texas Tech. I think there's one team that is a lock to get to the Final Four, and that's Gonzaga. The rest of the 1 seeds, I think, are going to have major issues. We have to stop just assuming that every 1 seed is just going to get to the Final Four. They usually do, but this year, like anything, there's a lot of good teams in this tournament.
Well, and it's tough because this year, nobody played full schedules. You've got teams that took breaks and got scheduled based on that. So some of these seedings could be a little off.
They could be, yeah, and I think they are off. To give Loyola an 8 seed's a joke. Why are they an 8 seed? I knew they were going to be an 8 seed, but they should be a better seed. I'll tell you right now, Mike, Wisconsin is in this tournament. I think the most egregious team in this tournament is them. I know that's going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but the truth of the matter is, Mike, we need to stop giving teams the benefit of the doubt because they're in a conference where they should get the benefit of the doubt. Wisconsin has done absolutely nothing to be in this tournament. They're 17-12. They beat no one in the Big Ten we're talking about. Their best wins against Loyola. This team should not be in the tournament. They just shouldn't. I don't want to hear about their Wisconsin. They've been inconsistent all season. They've been the most disappointing team in America, in my opinion.
All right, we'll have plenty more on this on Thursday. Jeff and I will have more conversations on all these games a little deeper. We'll get into the betting odds because those lines are out. We'll do that a little bit more tomorrow. We'll hit on some of those Thursdays. Maybe you can sneak a couple bucks in on Thursday. You jump in on those lines early for those first 4. And then on Thursday live, we will be at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's Atlantic City. Jeff will be there live with me. So when it comes to college basketball, you can't get a better guy to do a 4-hour show with you than Jeff Nadeau, and he will be on location with me in Atlantic City. We are really going to focus on this tournament. You're home for the NCAA tournament. We'll have all the games Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and all the way through the tournament. You can hear the tournament right here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, man, I look forward to Thursday. We'll do a little hit tomorrow on some of the lines for these games, but it was good to kind of get a quick little jump around to get some early thoughts. And then Thursday, we will be live on location. So we will see you tomorrow, and then on Thursday live. People can come out with you.
I look forward to it, Mike. And I have something Eagles tomorrow I want to ask you. A player that I think they should consider, I know they don't have a ton of money, but they should go after. I'm going to ask you about that tomorrow. I'm
interested. All right. Well, they lost Mills today, so they're already losing guys. They need to find multiple safeties. They need a corner. They got a lot. So I'm interested to see who this guy is. So tomorrow, 3 o'clock, Jeff is back. And then we are live on Thursday at the new FanDuel Sportsbook in Atlantic City. Jeff Nadeau, everybody. And where are you doing your some basketball talk now?
Yeah, I got a show every day, Picks-Wise, for the month of March. Picks-Wise, it's a YouTube and website based out of the UK, doing a lot of good stuff. Donnie writes in to have a cool show every morning at 9 a.m. I post it on my accounts. Make sure you check it out. And, Mike, I can't wait to see you down at the Bally's Sportsbook. If you're in the area, come say hello. You can ask me at any game you want. I will not big-time you.
He prefers the lower profile games. That's where you make the real cash.
Correct. Thanks, Mike.
Come out, by the way, and you can make your bets right at the new FanDuel Sportsbook, and then you can prop swap that ticket. How about that guy on prop swap sold that Michigan ticket for $15,000? You see that?
I can't. I have a Loyola ticket. I would consider selling it, but it's an online ticket, unfortunately.
Well, by the way, on Thursday.
I'll be betting at Bally's on Thursday, though.
Luke will be there on Thursday. He's going to sit down and do a segment with us. He might take that bet for you since you're right there if you show it to him on your phone.
Well, I'm going to have to talk to Luke about that because I'll have some tickets that I'm going to hope that I can use hard tickets down the road. So
somebody sold a Loyola ticket today.
I saw that.
You saw that. They sold it for $500. They paid $60. They sold it for $500. Don't even have to win a game in the tournament.
Yeah, I'm going to have to speak to Luke about that.
Honestly. He will be there with us Thursday. He will be jumping on for a segment or two with us.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Mike.
All right, man. Take care. Jeff Nadeau, of course, betting expert. And, of course, follow him at Jeff Nadeau on Twitter, big man on campus. All right, we got the 5 when we come back to wrap up the show.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Simmons downhill, comes in, jams in, and a foul, a rocket basket by Ben Simmons.
The Sixers host the New York Knicks tomorrow. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
Manipulated odds, identity theft, fraud. If you wager on an illegal website, you risk your security and winnings. Luckily, you can avoid these headaches. If you want to place a bet, New Jersey now offers legal online betting. Legal websites will keep you protected, ensure fair play, support responsible gaming, and boost the state's economy. Visit bettersafe.org/NJ for information. That's BETTOR safe.org/NJ to learn more. Don't be sorry. Be better safe.
Mom, I'm hungry. Popcorn?
We should live stream this.
Already am. With this new plan from Walmart Family Mobile, I get 40 gigabytes of high-speed data for under $40 a month. It's a limited time deal. Oh, watch out, loose ball.
Whoa.
That's double the data with no contract or surprise fees. Yay, buzzer beater. All powered by T-Mobile's nationwide network. Makes me feel like I'm a step ahead. Available at Walmart. Double data ends July 31st, 2021. Hotspot does not double. See terms at myfamilymobile.com. Walmart Family Mobile.
Dell's semi-annual sale is the perfect time to power up productivity and gaming victories. Now you can save what Dell employees save on high-performance tech. Save 17% on the latest XPS and Alienware computers with Intel Core processors. Plus, check out exclusive savings on Dell monitors, headsets, and accessories for greater immersion in all you do. Upgrade today by calling 800-BY-DELL. Again, that's 800-BY-DELL, or you can visit Dell.com/semi-annual sale.
Today, pros have to do whatever it takes. The Home Depot is here to make that easier. We've got the products you know and trust on our app, delivery options to get what you need exactly where you need it, and a delivery tracker that keeps you up to date on the status of your order, so you can keep doing what you do best, whatever it takes to get the job done. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
What's it doing? Designing my new 2021 Nissan Kicks Online in the Kicks Color Studio. I give each a special name. This one's electric blue, orange, red, white. I call it the gumball machine. You think it's me?
I feel like you're more of a red velvet guy.
Limitless possibilities. With over 100 million available color combinations and Bose Personal Plus system in the boldly new 2021 Nissan Kicks. Bose is the registered trademark of the Bose Corporation. Color combinations include interior and exterior colors. Customization is an available feature subject to availability at participating Nissan dealers. See dealer for details.
You ever lie awake at night, can't sleep, not wanting to see what time it is because that's just going to keep you up? Tonight, try ZzzQuil Pure Z's all night. Unlike other sleep aids, our extended release melatonin helps you fall asleep naturally and then slowly releases so you stay asleep longer through the night. It's non-habit forming with no next day grogginess. ZzzQuil Pure Z's all night so you can fall asleep and stay asleep. Available at retailers near you.
It's Mattress Firm's semi-annual sale, where you can save up to $300 on our top-rated brands like Sealy and Sleepy's. Plus, get a free adjustable base when you spend $6.99 on Sealy. Or buy Tempur-Pedic and get a $300 instant gift good towards sleep accessories. Shop Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, and more with our sleep experts today to find your best sleep. Only at Mattress Firm. Offer valid with qualifying purchase. Restrictions apply. Valid at participating locations only. For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/sale.
If I'm not commuting anymore, where do I really want to live?
While you handle life's questions, Merrill Guided Investing helps you manage your portfolio and invest for your next move with the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and minimum. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
You ready for competition? It's time for 5 questions.
3 ain't enough, man. 95. Number 5 will always love you. I got 5 on it. 5 times. Now can you dig that?
All right, here we go. Time for the 5. These were the best audio from today's guests today on the Sports Bash. Josh will join me, and these are the audio cuts that he got the most out of today. So let's bring them in. You ready for this little look at memory lane, I guess you could say, right, from today's show?
Mike, I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Sounds good. All right, this is Paul Hudrick today for Inside the Sixers. Thoughts on the backups to Joel Embiid so far?
You don't need Tony Bradley or Dwight Howard to beat Joel Embiid because he's Joel Embiid. He's arguably the MVP. I think he is the MVP of the league up until now. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, you don't need those guys to be that. You need them to be Tony Bradley and Dwight Howard. And those guys are pretty good, and they can give you, what Tony Bradley does, like what he does well. I think Doc Rivers is kind of bringing that out, and same with Dwight Howard.
So that's an obvious statement. They don't need him to be Joel Embiid. But the question that I asked him later on, which was, do they have to shift their trade thoughts, like to get by without Embiid, or do you just say these two guys are fine for 2-3 weeks?
I think it's so important to emphasize that we don't need them to be Embiid, not because we know they can't be, right? But it's also because of the fact that this team is showing you they can win games without Embiid for a short window, in a short period of time.
Well, they've won 2.
Right? They've won 3. Wait, they beat the Bulls, they beat the Wizards, they beat the Spurs. Yeah, so they won 3.
No, he played the game against.
Oh, this right.
He played the one.
He buckled his knee.
Yeah,
that's the one where he buckled his knee with this Wizards game. But they've won 2 games without him. I think that this is a team, Mike, that can at least stay above water. I talked to Paul about this last week with the fact that there's a chance for this team to stay above water. They're not going to win every game, but they can at least stay in the games and be competitive and not just drop in the standings.
Yeah, look, and another thing they might get out of this, keep this in perspective, is that teams might start calling you for Bradley if he plays well in this little group of games. They say, hey, look, you got Embiid back. I thought Hudrick brought up a good point that they went and got Bradley in that Zaire Smith trade, and people were like, Tony Bradley, this is all you're getting. He was a first-round pick, too. People forget that, and he's giving you some solid minutes. What do bad teams look for? Young, possible bigs that can help them out at cheap prices. So you might get a team that said, man, I really like what I saw from Bradley. If you kick him into a deal, we might be interested. So you might have just found some trade value there.
That's a great point.
All right, this is from Jeff Mosher, who joined us for Football at 4. Jalen Mills signed today with the New England Patriots.
Mills was somebody I thought that they might be able to retain on a one-year deal just like last year, not really knowing what the market was going to be like. And you forget that sometimes there are teams that just have unlimited funds, which the Patriots for years did not have because of all the contracts that they did have, and now they don't. And so they had the opportunity to give Jalen Mills $9 million guaranteed, right? So that's the big number. I look at that in that contract.
How big of a loss is Jalen Mills going to be? I mean, he's one of those guys that people didn't appreciate as much, but you forget he was a 7th-round pick, was a starter, and was a great guy in the community and the locker room. I think this is going to be a big loss for them.
I think this is a massive loss for them.
Massive.
This guy, first of all, he said in an interview previously, I want to be in Philadelphia. I don't want to go anywhere else.
It's funny, as we're saying this, we just got a message on Facebook. Good riddance.
Yeah, well, that guy doesn't understand football then. At Josh Hennig on Twitter. Come at me, bro. But anyway, listen, this guy wanted to be in Philadelphia. He wanted to be part of this team. He was a part of you winning a Super Bowl. He last year did all the dirty work because your team was so injured and decimated. You had to play him almost every defensive position in the secondary to just get by last year. And now you lose him because the Patriots just swoop on in and steal him away from you.
Well, it's funny because somebody texted in earlier about him in the Super Bowl and that he had a tough game. This was tweeted out by Pro Football Focus. Jalen Mills allowed just 35% of all targets to be caught in his coverage during the 2017 playoffs. It was the lowest catch percentage allowed by a cornerback in the postseason since Richard Sherman back in 2013. So they won the Super Bowl, 54 coverage snaps. He had 10 targets his way. He was excellent in those playoffs.
Well,
in 2017.
that's like the Roseman people. They find any stat that suits their interests. And as soon as you give them any evidence otherwise, they just run away.
All right, let's find out what else was on this because what do we think about this little ditty from Bob Wankel?
They're in a position, man, where, Mike, I got to tell you, they want to win. They've made moves this offseason where they are trying to win. They know they play in an ultra-competitive division, and they have to do everything within their power to field the best roster. And I think that it's at least worth questioning right now if Scott Kingery is one of the 26 best guys that they have to field at the major league level.
Scott Kingery cut?
I don't know if he gets cut, but he might be in the minor leagues. He might get designated for assignment. I mean, listen, this guy, there's something wrong with him. I don't know if it's just he lost focus, but I think it's before the COVID thing happened. People keep pointing to the COVID thing last year. I got to say it was before that. This guy started out so hot and so amazing and so incredible, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if he's lost in his own head. I don't know if playing all these different positions are messing with him. I don't know, Mike, but something's wrong there. And if Bob's right that this team wants to win, I don't know if Scott Kingery's helping you win baseball games right now.
I'm stunned by this. When I saw this kid 2-3 years ago, I think it was in his first spring training, I thought that they got something. That this kid was special.
That was the last time you watched spring training.
It might have been, unfortunately. Bob Wankel, crossing broad. So his thoughts on Mickey Moniak.
My thought on Mickey Moniak, though, at this point really is don't mess with it. Don't force it. Like, I know a lot of people want to see him out there. They certainly don't want to see Odubel Herrera. They're tired of Quinn and Kingery, and I get that. But his development has been great here recently, coming into the spring training and how good he's been. I just don't think he's ready to assume that everyday role, and I think it's important to get him consistent at bats and let him mature naturally. We're talking about a 22-year-old kid.
Let him mature naturally. That's the huge thing to me. Everybody wants to rush guys to the major leagues now because there are other teams around baseball that have young stars. Those teams didn't rush those guys to the majors, and that's why they are young stars.
Well, I'll tell you, I was very hard on Moniak. And look, I'm not sitting here telling you I've changed all of a sudden, but I'm giving him a chance because he does look physically stronger, bigger, and I will say this, more mentally focused. He looked like a kid that was lost last year who knew he didn't belong up there. And maybe he took that and said, I need to get better. All right, that's our good audio for the day. Coming up, Kevin Durso previews the Flyers and the Rangers game, including some news on Brian Elliott. Stick around for that coming up at 6:20. I'm back tomorrow here on The Bash.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tonight on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates calling all the play-by-play action.
Oh, big save by Carter.